What's up, guys, and welcome to the Hangin with Hohman podcast. We are back. I think this is episode 6, and we're gonna be doing our thing. I got my boy Tony Hancock, also known as.
You were about to say it. It's cool. It's cool.
Also known as Saxl Rose.
Yeah.
I actually had to ask Kevin Gorin. I was like, dude, I met you at a show, but I only met you as Saxl Rose, and I was like, what's this man's name?
Yeah, bro. Like, you'd be surprised. Like, I just told a story the other day, but like, I'll do like shows and shit like that.
Yeah.
Wait, can I swear on here?
Yeah, of course,
okay.
yeah.
I'll do shows, and people will like, come up to me and be like, oh my god, whatever. And to be polite, I always be like, okay, like right before I leave, I'll be like, what's your name again? And they'll tell me, and I'll be like, all right, cool, I'm Tony. And they'll be like, what?
Tony?
And I'm like, oh yeah, Saxl Rose.
Saxl Rose.
My bad.
Yeah, no, I had to ask Kevin. I was
Yeah.
like, dude, I only know you by Saxl Rose. I was like, what's his name? And he was like, oh, it's is your real name Antonio?
Yeah.
Because he was like, it's Tony, but his real name's Antonio, but call him Tony. And
That's
I was
a
like,
fact.
cool,
That's a fact.
It's
Yeah.
easy enough.
Yeah,
But
he's the homie for that.
I always like to go into a little intro, kind of tell the people who you are, because, like I said, this is a first round of kind of my guests, and
Got you.
I try to keep all my guests that I have on kind of like a normal thing where they come on, a recurring type thing. So
Got you.
go ahead and introduce yourself to the people so they can get a little vibe of who you are.
Cool, yeah, what's good? Like you said, my name is Tony, aka Saxl Rose. I'm a musician, multi-instrumentalist, producer, semi-vocalist every now and again.
Good vocalist.
Yeah,
Don't sell
right.
yourself short.
I'm chilling,
I
man.
heard that cover you did the other
Thank you,
day. That shit was
you.
crazy.
Bro, I get nervous as hell every time. Like, I do some vocal shit. I'm like,
It was good,
man,
bro. It was
thank you,
good.
thank
It was
you.
good.
But yeah, session artist. Yeah, I play with a lot of different artists. I've played with, Paramore, Wiz Khalifa, Chris Brown. I did the sax on the tour he did before, like, everything shut down. A bunch of different artists, Bobby V, like, just a bunch of different artists I've been fortunate enough to play with, and working on my own original music as well. I do a lot of online content. So yeah, that's pretty much in
And
short.
by the way, what is your Instagram handle so people can check you out and shit?
At Saxl Rose Official.
Cool, man. Cool. Do you have like a Twitch or anything like that?
I do, yeah. I started using it because I started streaming during quarantine, but there was like, the audio was such a pain for me.
Dude, I ran into that same thing.
That I did a few streams, but there was like just these delays and stuff like that, where I just couldn't figure it out.
Like, was it latent and everything? Like latency and shit?
Yeah, and I
hate that,
I don't
bro.
know if it was anything people could notice, but I could notice it to the point where it just ruined it for me. And I was like, I gotta not do this for a while and come back to it when I'm less frustrated. But yeah, you can find me on Twitch, same deal, Saxl Rose Official.
Cool,
Just look up
cool.
Saxl Rose, you'll find me.
Well, that's awesome, man. Dude, now I also want to say thank you for fucking coming on to this shit,
Of course,
dude.
yeah.
I'm
of course.
super
It's
excited
all
that we got
good.
to do this.
Harford
but-
County shit,
Yeah, hell yeah.
You know what it is.
Because you have you grown up in you live in like the Havity Grace area?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Have you grown up there like your whole life?
Yeah, pretty much. My time was pretty much split between Havity Grace and Dundalk Turner Station.
Okay, yeah.
My dad lived there and my mom lived here when I was younger, so
Cool.
I would like switch back and forth a lot. So I'd say my time was pretty much split between those two places.
That's awesome.
But then like once I hit high school and we all like moved in together and stuff like that, it was pretty much just Havity Grace. So
That's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, I've kind of been familiar with the Dundalk area because my dad did a lot of work over there and shit like that. But
Yeah.
I've never been familiar with the Havity Grace area until we played that one show at Hopkins Brewery.
True, yeah.
That was the first time I ever been like really. I mean, obviously I've been to Havity Grace here and there, but that was
Right.
like the first time I would like actually like went there and
Right.
got to enjoy it. And I was like, dude, it's a pretty cool spot.
Dude, it's cool. And I gotta be honest, like when I saw you guys, I was like I was blown away because I've seen like a few groups there and like
Was it like
they
cover bands and shit like that?
It was cool. It was just
Yeah.
like, it was almost like karaoke-ish type stuff.
Oh,
I
okay,
was just
okay.
like, all right, cool. Or like an acoustic act where I'm like, word. But when I saw you guys, first of all, two thoughts went in my mind. I'm like, first of all, how are they affording to pay all these guys? Because you guys
don't pay each other,
that's what
bro.
I'm
We
saying.
don't pay
I'm
each
like,
other.
bro, there's a lot of people in this
we
band.
don't pay each other, man.
And then the second thing is I'm like, yo, who the hell are these dudes? And then once I looked you guys up on Instagram, I realized that like most of the band was already following me on Instagram. And I was like, all right, damn, like I'm just late to the party or something like that.
Yeah,
Dude,
bro.
all you guys are sick. Like
Yeah,
all
man.
the musicians are nuts.
I mean, I've gotten into it a little bit in previous episodes that are going to be coming out soon, but
Cool.
I mean, by the time this one's out, they're all going to be out. But we've kind of just did our thing. And like you said, with the like, how do you pay each other? We don't pay each other at all.
Yeah.
That's how we're able to do like pretty like, I would say pretty cost intensive things.
I feel you.
Because we just put it into a bank account. You know, obviously here and there, you know, a guitar repair or like a drum repair or
definitely.
Anything like that. Yeah, that goes straight like out of the band fund. But that's kind of what I mean, dude. You'd expect. I mean, with like a 7-8 piece band, paying each other, you know, is even when you're getting paid $1,000 a gig, that's still like.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not the biggest payout, you know,
not
for
7-8 dudes.
Yeah, for a regular musician.
But it's something,
exactly.
So.
And realistically, we're really grateful for the position that we're in, and we just go for it every time. But I want to kind of go into the maybe the early inspirations you've had like growing up. Was there any like music that you were surrounded by in the areas you grew up in, or was it kind of like your parents maybe had like some favorite artists that they always listened to and stuff?
Yeah, I would say it was a solid combination of both. My dad like played in a band like before I was born, and just like even still, like he still plays.
Yeah.
So growing up, really
That's
sick.
awesome.
So growing up, like I mean, me and my brother would be like 2-3 years old, going to these like clubs to go see him play. Like my mom would bring us and stuff like that.
That's sick.
And like we'd have to like leave.
Honestly, that's the way to raise a child.
Bro, it was
dude.
sick, man.
Raise them in
Like
music.
we got to see some real cool places. And we'd have to leave after like the first set or whatever because like it got late. It got late. We'd have to go to bed. But like either way, we still got to see him play a lot. And then my mom was a DJ, like growing up, and
Really?
Okay, so the place that do you know Coakley's in Havity, Grace?
Like I said, dude, I'm not really familiar with
I was great. It's all good.
Yeah.
So it was another bar before that. I think it was. I feel like it was called Tim's Tavern or something like that. But she was a DJ there, and so she was doing it the old school way. This is before anything was digital. So she actually had to like buy the CDs and like mix it in and stuff like that, like do it manually pretty much.
Yeah.
So she had like these huge black cases full of CDs. And I mean, like if you're a DJ, that's kind of what you do. Is
That's kind of like the old school days. Like they used to bring those big boxes of like vinyl and
exactly,
shit like that.
Exactly. And just being a DJ, like you have to obviously appeal to a bunch of different people. So she had like a wide range of, you know, everything from like the current hits to the throwback hits, and then, you know, everything from like country to pop to Tupac to whatever was hot.
That's fucking sweet.
So when she stopped DJing, she just gave us, like me and my brother, the CDs. Like, yeah, just pick whatever you like and you can keep it. So I remember like,
oh wow,
yeah, like I was hearing all, like she gave me my first Tupac CD and my first Limp Bizkit CD at like the same time. So
wow, okay, so Limp Bizkit and Tupac.
That's the range that I was, and then like my dad obviously playing like, you know, old school R&B to like the newer R&B to jazz to everything in between. Like that's what I was working with at like, you know, 4 or 5 years old, you know what I mean? So by the time that it came time for me to like play an instrument in elementary school, like when you go into 4th grade, like I already been playing sax for a little bit. I wasn't nice or anything, but I'd already familiarized.
You're a little more familiarized.
Yeah. So that was pretty much like how I started out playing. And then my uncle, Wawa's actually, he was Teddy Pendergrass's guitar player up until he passed away.
Wow.
So, and he was in my dad's band. So it's like all these cats were like, I grew up with all these people and they all had their own little pockets of, you know what I mean? Like people they worked with, and everyone had their own style. So I feel like I just kind of grew up knowing like a whole bunch of different types of music.
That's intense, man. I'm surprised when you told me like your mom gave you a selection between Tupac and Limp Bizkit.
Bananas. Yeah.
That is now I'm starting to see where you're kind of like the scope of how you're like in the genres that you're in, because
man.
You know, most of the time, you know, like when I was growing up, I think it was
and she's white, by the way. Not that that's important. I just want to throw that out there. Like, you know what I mean? Her giving me a Tupac CD and be like, here, check this out. It's nuts. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
totally
nuts. Yeah.
Because I mean, dude, for me, I grew up on some like Nora Jones shit, or like
sick.
Or
she's tight.
Yeah, of course, dude. I fucking love Nora Jones. That used to be like my lullaby music. My mom used to put that on. Or who else was it? It was like Nora Jones. Obviously some my dad put on a lot of the Police and the Rolling Stones.
Facts. The Police.
I kind of always kind of grafted towards I would say more kind of hip hoppy shit. Like I was a big Eminem fan growing up. Actually, my mom was, and if you met my mom, you'd be like, you listen to Eminem,
right?
And she would religiously listen to Eminem, and she fucking
dope,
loved him.
He's tight.
She was like, I love this Eminem guy. He's so good.
He is good. He's probably. I mean, he's easily one of the best.
Oh my god, easily. But that was like the shit I grew up on, kind of like some Nora Jones, you know, Sting, Police, the Rolling Stones, Eminem. And my sister, she was kind of into like, you know, kind of like that 90s hip hop shit, like some Tupac, Biggie, and, shit like that. But my cousin, he was into he was into like heavy emo music. He kind of like introduced me to like
That's what's up, man.
The Used and shit like that, dude.
Speaking of which,
oh my god, look at that! I didn't even know you were wearing that, bro.
Now. Hell yeah!
But yeah. So he introduced me to like The Used and shit like that, and also, I'm never gonna remember this, and I don't even know if they're a band still. He introduced me to this one band that had this one chick in the band that was like, dude, she was like, she was like literally, it looked like she was like 4 feet tall. But she had like the deepest growl, like in like, because she would do like screamo music, dude.
Oh, like I Wrestle a Bear once, probably. Because they had a chick screamer, and
she was like small. She was like, like
she's pretty tiny, but I don't know if
tiny
it's the same
as shit,
band,
and like she didn't look like she would be like able to like produce that sound, but she would like be like in the songs like, like deep.
I feel like it was. I feel like it was them,
dude. I don't know. It was, dude. This was probably like 2005. Like this is a while ago.
Okay.
This is a while ago.
Yeah, I feel like that makes sense, but
but that was the shit that he was listening to, and I was kind of. And, kind of like you, I was introduced to a bunch of different like genres. I wasn't just raised on like rock and roll.
Definitely,
like a lot of my friends where they were raised in just strictly rock and roll. I was raised on like rock and roll, obviously, but also a little bit of soul and some R&B here and there, and some hip hop, and obviously like emo music and stuff like that.
Man.
And
staying versatile,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I want to go more on kind of like your family and music, and I want to kind of talk about how that may have kind of guided you in the direction of the instrument you may have chose or whatever.
Right.
Like
The funny thing is about that is so my brother he played as well. He played clarinet, but when he went into 4th grade, I remember he wanted to play saxophone, and my mom and my dad pretty much were like, nah, like we already have a clarinet, because my mom used to play, and I think my dad used to play as well, so they already had clarinets, and they were like, just play clarinet. And he was like,
clarinet's hard as shit.
Yeah, and he actually was nice at it too, which is crazy.
Clarinet's
like
hard.
He ended up going in the military, but like if he would have wanted to be one of those dudes, like I want to play in an orchestra or something like that, he could have easily done it. But yeah, he ended up playing clarinet. But then when I came along, like I said, I already been kind of toying with the sax. So when I went into 4th grade, it was like cool. And originally when I remember the first day I went to the band room and we all like sat down and they're choosing what instruments everyone's going to play. I actually went in wanting to play trombone, because in my mind I figured like, okay, I'm already playing the sax, so if I learn another instrument in school, then I can play too. And
totally.
But my arms weren't long enough to like do the thing.
Like
so she was like, you already play sax, just play sax. I'm like, all right, cool.
Fine.
And I came home, my brother was like mad, because he was like, bro, I asked to play the sax and y'all said no, but like he gets to play the sax.
Why does he get to play the sax?
Right. So
it's
like,
that brotherly rivalry, dude. I know exactly. I have a twin brother, dude. So,
so you know how it is.
I know exactly.
Yeah. So wait, is he the one doing the interview right now, or is it you? Did you guys like switch places with me and not tell me? Or?
I don't know.
Okay.
No, we're fraternal. We look
that.
nothing alike.
Really? Okay.
He's got like a 6-pack. He's got like a 6-pack. I'm like a little pudgy over here. And
Gotcha. I just figured I'd ask. But yeah, man, like just played in obviously elementary school, middle school, high school, did like the all county jazz stuff, and just private lessons and stuff like that. Did piano lessons for a little bit, hated that sucked, stopped that after like a month or something like that.
I feel like every kid does piano
it's
lessons.
The worst, man.
I mean, like every kid does.
It's like a rite of passage as like when you're a kid.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like every kid that's in music nowadays, they always started on like either like a piano lesson, or like maybe for me it was drum lessons.
Yeah, I was about to say drum lessons or something like that. Yeah, and I played drums in church, which I still do like to this day.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Damn, you play a lot of instruments, bro.
Yeah, me and my dad both play. He plays organ and keyboards, and I play drums.
Hell yeah, dude.
Picked up guitar as well, like when I was like 10 or 11 or something like that. Which so
do you guys play like gospel shit? Like kind of like I don't know. It's I kind of like and people are gonna call me out for saying I think it was like it's like a gospel shuffle or something. It's like, you know what I'm talking about. It's like that. It's like that fast shit. Like Dude, I love that music. That's like some like I listened to a lot of PJ Morton, and he was
he was just on the screen before you came in too. Like
really?
Yeah.
Dude, PJ is he may be my number one artist of all time.
I wasn't even hip until JoJo, the R&B singer.
Of course, dude. They have a song together.
Yeah. She like a year ago, I did a cover of her song and she shared it, and we kind of just connected over whatever. Yeah, we kind of just connected over social media, and she shared like a bunch of my videos and stuff. And she had like did a song with him, and she had been like sharing his stuff, and I was like, this guy is like
Dog.
amazing. Like,
Dude,
it's
PJ
crazy.
is the man.
Yeah.
Dude, and he has a gospel. His father is like a huge. I think he's a.
That's crazy.
I think he's like a head pastor at one of these big New Orleans churches or whatever. I may be wrong, but
Yeah.
dude, he had just released a gospel album, and it's called Gospel According to PJ. Dude, it is so
I'm gonna have to
good,
check that
dude.
out,
It is
yeah.
so good,
I'm gonna
bro.
have to check it
Yeah,
out,
you're
yeah.
definitely gonna have to check that out,
Yeah,
dude.
because gospel's dope. Like,
dude,
yeah,
gospel,
man.
like,
It's
I'm
hard.
not. I don't consider myself, a terrible, like a real religious person, but dude,
Right.
that's one thing where like whenever I listen to gospel, I'm like.
You can't deny it. The
I'm
music
like,
is-
something's here.
The
dude.
music is
something's
tight.
here.
Yeah.
Something's hitting me. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, and it like it seeps its way into our music way more than I feel like people even realize. Like
100%.
anytime anyone hears any of these, pop artists or rock artists doing stuff with, choirs in the background, like gospel choirs, because that's been like a huge thing over the past couple of
100%.
years.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Or like those, those chord changes, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff is based in gospel, you know what I mean?
100%, dude.
Like we got to start giving gospel its credit for real.
For real, bro. For real.
That's
And
a
if
fact.
there's anybody out there that knows other gospel artists and stuff like that, throw it in the comments, dude, because I'm always open to hearing more.
It's a
'Cause,
fact.
dude, I love
It's a
gospel.
fact. Yeah, it's a fact.
But yeah, so you were going on a point. So you said your father, if I'm mistaken, he was a touring. Did you say saxophone player?
Yeah, so
Or-
he was like the same way, where he was actually the singer, but he also played keys and he played sax and drums occasionally. Like he could just, they had one of those bands where everyone would just kind of like move around.
kind of like how my band
Yeah,
is.
honestly, really similar. Yeah. So yeah, they would do like residencies at like different clubs or different like casinos, like all kinds of stuff like that for like weeks or like months at a time. So he would be gone like on the road, but then obviously when we weren't in school or on certain weekends where we would go see him and like stay. And like I said, there's some really like cool places, some that I still go to now, and he'll play at every once in a while. But yeah, he, they were in like they did like R&B and all the classic songs, plus all like the new wave like stuff that was coming out at the time. So and all the guys that he played with are like my family, you know what I mean? Like I grew up watching those guys, and I get to play with them a lot now too.
Totally,
so it's really cool, and he definitely put me on to like a lot of really dope music growing up as well. You know what I mean?
You may have already said it, but what was like their genre of music they played?
Yeah, they did like everything from, like I said, like classic R&B type stuff, like like they did like Barry White and like anything you can think of from that time, like the 60s, 70s type R&B to like the 2000s. And then they did country. Like I did a cover of, I don't know if you ever heard, I did a cover of a country song, My Maria by Brooks and Dunn.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
I mean, dude, I mean, I live around here. Like a bunch of the kids listen to country, but
facts.
dude, Brooks and Dunn,
they're nice.
no, they got some good songs.
They would play that song like that's, so it's like the range, like they would be doing like Barry White or this, that, and the third, and then in the next set pull out one of those songs and play a country song like it was nothing, and then
catch you completely off guard. You're like, oh shit.
Because like in their mind it was the same thing that I feel like the same mentality that I'm sure my mom had to have, which is like there's more than one type of person in this audience right now. So
you kind of can't like personalize it when you're like playing music for a lot of people. You can't be like, yo, this is just what I like.
You got to play what they like.
Yeah, exactly. Especially when you're appealing to a crowd and stuff.
Exactly.
And when you're playing like cover music and stuff like that, especially like you have to be like, listen, this isn't like about you. Like
exactly. So they would do Earth, Wind and Fire and like a Backstreet Boys song and whatever in the same set, because that's just like what they did. You know what I mean?
That's
and then
fucking awesome.
They also knew they would be able to play in a lot more places if they were just versatile like that. So
that's sweet, man.
I think that definitely like carried over to what I feel like I do now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that's sick, man. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah,
but
sick.
I guess my next line of questioning is I've kind of realized, through the first time meeting you and following you on social media and seeing all the stuff that you do, I really noticed that you are literally so true to yourself.
Yeah.
And you love, and I'm not trying to speak for you, but like
it's cool.
you love being like unique.
Yeah.
I've seen like you like being unique, but also just yourself.
Yeah, just being
and kind
me,
of just
man.
like not like kind of appealing to any what's the word? It's like you're not appealing to like say for instance, I know a lot of guys in like the like that play saxophone or stuff. They strictly only play jazz.
Yeah.
And that's it. But
Yeah.
like I've noticed that you dude, I mean, I don't know a lot of saxophone players that are playing, alternative rock and shit like that.
Yeah, which is crazy because
No, it's literally crazy.
And I get why, because I mean the saxophone is, at heart a traditionally jazz instrument.
Totally.
But I just feel like, think about any instrument that you hit. Like, imagine if the guitar had stayed where it was at, or like, you know what I mean? Like, any of these 100%. Instruments had just stayed in the pocket that they were quote unquote designed for.
Exactly.
It's like, things wouldn't grow. So to me, like, the way I think the key is that I see it all the time. People will like message me or comment and be like, oh my God, like this is so crazy that you can play this and then play that. And like, I think my key is that I never even think too deep into it. I just play whatever the hell it is. I like wake up, like people even ask me like, what are you covering next? And I'm like, I don't know, because I don't really pre-record anything. I just do it as
it on the fly or whatever.
Do it on the fly, because I feel like then it's real. And then I also don't like spending too much time on it. I want everyone to know like I did this on like pretty quickly. Like
100%.
So it's like, I don't know, bro. Like I always wanted to just do music that I personally enjoy. You know what I mean? That I feel like other people will enjoy as well. But it's like I don't listen to a whole lot of like straight up jazz. Like, and shout out to people who do. I personally just don't. And that's never something, even when I was in school or studying, that I was ever really that interested in. Like I had teachers that tried to like force me to go down that road or like just listen to it way more than I wanted to.
Yeah.
There are certain things like in life that you do have to force yourself to do. Like, whether it's like waking up and making your bed. Like no one wants to make the bed in the morning. You know what I mean? Some people don't.
But it's something
you should do.
It puts it into motion.
Yeah, like no one wants to, go to the DMV and fill out a bunch of paperwork. Or, no, like
I fucking hate the DMV.
Yeah, everyone does, but
everyone's got to do it though.
There are certain things that you have to do, but I feel like when it comes to the other side, which is like creative, like being forced to do something that you just genuinely don't want to do after you've experienced it, because I think that's key too. Like I don't think you should deny anything, like yourself, of any experiences. Give it a shot, try it. But if you know after like some time that you've put in that something just isn't for you, or that maybe you just don't enjoy it as much as the person who's trying to get you to do it, like dude, it's not going to do you any favors. You really
100%.
It's not going to do any favors. So I think I just recognize that, like, where I'm like, yeah, jazz is cool and it has its place, and like I will listen to it on the occasion, but it's just not something that I've ever wanted to be like, I'm gonna be a jazz sax player.
Yeah.
Like I want people to know me as like a musician, as an artist, or like I don't know what this dude is gonna do, but if we put him in the room, or if we put him in this situation, something's gonna come out and it's gonna be dope. We don't know what it is. That's why I
kind of call it like being a chameleon. Like
exactly,
dude, you can adapt to any situation you're thrown into.
Any situation.
Like I guarantee you, if you were thrown into like a jam session or some shit, and they started playing some like not like standard shit, but like some like jazzy shit,
I'd be good.
You could hang easily.
I'd be good. Yeah, I'd be good.
But
I've done that.
You could also be thrown into a fucking. I mean, you went on tours with like, alternative rock bands and shit like that, and you can still hang.
Yeah.
Where I can definitely say, the majority of the dudes that, I know within, like, and obviously I'm not trying to pigeonhole everybody as, that, but it's like the majority, they probably, would be not like comfortable playing.
Yeah, they wouldn't know what to do. And that's not a bad thing.
And it's not a bad thing.
Like, I want to make that clear. That's not a bad thing.
It's not.
But I've just always
for you personally.
Exactly.
Though.
For me, it's been important to where I'm like, I want to be able to go here, and people would be like, cool, he can operate in that venue, and then go here, and people would be like, cool, he can do that as well. Because like, bro, you're gonna get more gigs that way. You're gonna get more calls that way. And
100%.
And that's just what makes me happy. So if you're a jazz sax player or a jazz whatever player, and that makes you happy, then that's what's up. Do that. I'm just speaking for myself.
Exactly.
I don't want to do that. I never wanted to do that. I don't want to play a bunch of standards. Those songs have been played 1 billion times. Like, trust me, everyone knows. Like, shout out to everyone playing Giant Steps. That's what's up. It's been the way that you were about to play it has been played. I promise you, it's been played. Okay, like and like I'm sorry, but like I'm just personally not. I mean, I'm always impressed. Like if you can rip through Giant Steps, that's what's up. But I'm saying like I'm not mind blown by it anymore. Like just using that as an example.
No, and I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
I've heard it 1 billion times, and that's no shade to anyone. But like I was just like, cool. They're all doing that. I'm going to go do this because I don't want to do that. They're already doing that.
It's kind of like the fork in the road, like you have like, ways that you can go down. And it's like, you're not bagging on anyone that decided to go down that route. You just decided to go this way.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that. But you'd be surprised like how many people do find something wrong with that.
Yeah,
like,
I know. And that's actually what I was just about to go into, the toxicity and negativity in the music scene, bro.
It's nuts. And I mean, like I told you before, like I never, and you can ask anyone who I've worked with so far, I've played with, like I don't have anything bad to say about anyone. Like that's just never been my game. I'm always like positive and I want to motivate people, and like that's just my bag. But like when I first like came in the game and started playing, as far as like, cool, I'm Saxl Rose and this is what I want to do, like when I first started making waves, like playing a couple shows with some big bands and like traveling a little bit more, like I started like hitting some of these companies up to like, you know, partner with me, or like, hey, like I could use this kind of support right now. I'm doing X amount of shows and I'm doing X amount of views on these videos. Like I could, you know, help you with whether it's product placement or anything like that, like marketing, whatever it is. Like I'm not even asking for anything for free. Like we could work something out. Like you'd be surprised how many of these companies were just like, hey, yeah, like we see what you're doing, but like it's really not how we want to align our brand. We don't want to align with artists who play that type of music or play with those types of artists. And to me, like at the end of the day, I do get it, because it's their company. They can choose to work with whoever they want.
I mean, yeah, like it's
yeah.
their
So I'm not
decision,
mad, I'm not mad at all, and I'm not like, you know, I wasn't hurt by it. But in my mind, I'm just like, all right. At the end of the day, you guys are a business. Like that's how you can only do the things you do because you operate as a business, money in, money out. So
exactly, bro.
My thing is, if I'm telling you that I could potentially make you X amount of sales in X amount of time,
or not even like sales, it's like, yo, I could introduce you
to a whole new audience,
and or market. Like this could be the market that you know you haven't jumped into yet.
Exactly.
And we were talking about that on the phone.
We were,
day.
that all sounds great, but even that needs to be able to translate into sales for them as a business. Like they're not partnering with anyone that can't make them sales. So the audience is great, but if it's not translating over, they're like, cool, the audience is great, but how are we going to benefit from it?
Exactly.
I understand that these companies
they're a business. They're a business. They're in the business of making money.
I understand that,
you know?
And that's what's up. So I'm telling these companies, listen, I understand you guys can work with who you want, but I'm telling you that I could potentially introduce you to a new audience and have that translate over financially.
Yeah, in the long term,
we
not
could
like
both benefit from it. So what's the problem? And they didn't want to do it. So to me, I was like, cool, you know what? I'm not really going to reach out to any of these companies, and I'm just going to keep doing my thing and just put the work in, and whoever ends up partnering with me or sees what I'm doing, then cool. And that's exactly what happened. And I'm glad I did that, because one, it's always better when they come to you.
Yeah.
Like I've realized that anytime that I feel like I try to jump out the window, it never worked out the way I wanted to, because I felt like I was the one who had to like come to the table and be like, all right. But when they come to you, you hold the cards.
Yeah.
So it's your choice. You
kind of have that kind of like that grasp on them,
and you know it's real because they're coming to you.
Yeah.
They're not just talking to you because you came to them and you're bothering them. If they're coming to you, they're interested.
Yeah. They're already
interested. Yeah, they're already interested, and who knows how long they've been watching you before that.
Exactly.
So the companies that I did end up partnering with, like Saxl, Shape Your Own Sound, like I have my own signature mouthpiece through them. And the thing is that's cool about them is that on a business platform, they're doing the exact same things that I feel like I'm doing, which is they're changing the look of mouthpieces. They have their own brand new look. You either love it or you hate it. Or
it's like orange, right?
Or whatever. But there's there's all different colors. You know what I mean? But like mine is kind of like that orangish coral type of color.
I fucking love that.
It's sick. And anyone can also choose to, like, you can literally shape your own sound. Everyone has their own sound that they can choose, which is like, to me, you know, I feel like I have a whole different, I don't feel like I sound like other sax players, and that's just me just being, you know what I mean? Like I'm not saying that it's better or worse. I just feel like I've developed my own sound.
Exactly.
And they make it a point to do that as well. They're marketing to a whole, like, they don't just have straight up sax players. Like they have people who play for like Snarky Puppy, and then guys like me, and then those like bebop straight up like jazz dudes. Mm-hmm. So they don't like, when they came to me, they're like, dude, we love what you're doing, and we love the bands and the artists that you play with and the songs that you cover. And they still like, they share all my videos. And
shout out to them, dude. Shout out to them for being like a legit, like a real company, honestly.
It's not that hard. Like, you know what I mean? Like all these other companies just, you know, shout out to them, but it's like they understand that, like, listen, times are changing.
And there's also a difference in a company actually caring for their, partners and shit.
And they do. They legitimately do. Like we speak, you know what I mean? Like they check in and they involve me in like different processes. I like obviously receive royalties from the mouthpieces that I sell, which do great, and it's like they're a huge part of that. They take them to like all the, you know, the NAMM and like all those
exactly.
They do all that stuff without me having to be like, hey, like maybe you should do this, that, and the third. Like they just operate that way anyway.
And that's awesome. Yeah,
dude. And they're not, you know what I mean? Like they understand that business for me. Like it's not the 40s anymore, so like we don't have to just play all the standards anymore. Like I said, everyone's heard them. They understand that like times are changing. Musicians are starting to like involve themselves in different genres than just jazz, so like we should appeal as such.
Exactly. And I feel like that's a big misconception within, you know, a lot of brand endorsement deals is like a lot of musicians, especially, they kind of just like, there's that one company and they're just sticking to one market / genre.
Yeah, forget that, man. It's just not. I mean, it's like I said, everyone can do what they want, but
exactly.
And all the other companies that work with me as well, like I'm endorsed through Fiber Read as well. Like it's the same way. They don't. it's not like a cane normal reed. It's like those like, you know, fiber plastic type reeds, and it's just like I love playing those. Like they send them to me to try out,
and does that also kind of like incorporate also into like how you were saying your unique sound?
100%. Like exactly. It's the trifecta of the reed, the mouthpiece, and then like the sax that I have, because I'm endorsed through Lupafaro as well. They're an Italian-based company, and they're the same way. They're like, dude, we don't care who you play with. Like, you're playing, you know, you're doing this UK tour,
you're doing your thing,
you're doing this, like you're doing that. Like, bro, we just want to be involved somehow. So you let us know like what you need, and they send me 2 saxophones, like just off the strength. Like
that's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
That's what I'm saying. And to me, it's never even about. It's not about what I can get for free.
Exactly.
I don't care about that. It's that I want to work with people who understand what I'm doing and are just want to be involved in the process. 100%. So yeah,
well, that's cool, man. And also, I kind of want to backpedal a little bit to the beginning of that little convo we just had, because I've kind of dealt with it. Not, and I wouldn't say personally. I've kind of had I've had a pretty good hand that was dealt to me, you know, within the music scene, because I've been surrounded by a bunch of dudes that, you know, have been in it. But and I'm speaking just strictly like the Maryland, Baltimore, Towson jazz scene and stuff. But there's a big
rough,
and it's rough. It's rough. There's a big toxicity and kind of negativity that goes in, and it's also I've kind of always, and anybody that knows me that I've spoken to about this will back me up on it. I've always kind of treated music as, and actually I was talking to my friend. Do you know who Zach McKinney is?
It sounds familiar.
He's a really cool dude. He's played sax with us. He's gone on tours with us and stuff like that. But he's a really good friend of mine. Right. And I remember he was talking to me once, and he said that, you know, music is kind of like a journey. Yeah. And when I heard that, I was like, dude, actually, you know, it's funny. I realized that a lot of musicians around the area treat music as a competition.
Right.
Like they try to be, they try to just be better than everyone else, and or they just try to, like, you know, be the best.
Yeah.
And it's like, one thing that I've learned about music is that, dude, it is not about that at all. And if you're not treating it that way, and if you are treating it that way, like, one, you're not fully engulfing and or, you know, appreciating music for what it is, because
Facts.
I mean, dude, music is an art. That's what I look at it. It's an art. And you know, when you look at like a painter or anything like that, like they're not like, most of the time, I mean, they're not painting to be the best painter. They're painting because, like, they're putting their fucking emotion into it. They're like, you know, feeling it, and they're like, yo, this painting describes exactly how I feel right now.
They're not always focused on technical skill.
Exactly. Like, dude, I mean, I have this one dude, David Cho. Like, I fucking love David Cho, and he makes very abstract fucking art. And I mean, he even says he's like, you know, some of my paintings aren't the best, but he was like, I just kind of like put my emotion into it.
It's his though. It doesn't matter.
It's his.
It doesn't matter if it's the best. It's his. You know what I mean?
And I want to kind of talk on a point of, like, you know, kind of like your struggle and or journey through, like, maybe just not like, you know, putting it into, like, you know, Maryland's music scene, but maybe because you've been across, you know, the world and stuff like that. So it's like, what are some of, like, the maybe the learning lessons you've had through seeing, you know, other musicians within that scene? Maybe let's just say like Saxophone, because, you know, obviously Saxophone definitely has, like, you know, a very, you know, dog eat dog, you know.
Which is crazy, because I'm just like, dude, there's room for everyone. Like,
exactly.
I wish everyone would realize that, like, you know, you can play that and I can play this, and that can be fine. Like, we don't have to. The thing that you said though about, like, the competition thing is spot on, because, like, to me, it's like there's always going to be someone better than you. Like,
always. I mean, and there's always going to be also, and sorry to cut you off, there's always going to be like, say for instance, like, there's this one kid, I said it in the last, or a few podcasts ago. Right. He's like a 9-year-old. His named Aaron.
Okay.
He's a bass player.
Okay.
And I mean, if you look at him, like, dog, he's better than some of the cats that are, like, in their 40s and 50s. And it's like, dude,
some of these kids
this
on
kid's
Instagram,
9 years old.
Yeah.
Like, yo, there's always going to be someone better than you. No matter how much you practice, no matter what you do, some people just get it.
Yes, and especially, like, if you've seen some of these kids on Instagram, like you said, they're like 8, 9 years old. Like, just, it sucks.
But it's like, dude,
damn, fuck.
Yeah, it's like, damn, how the hell do you know how to do this already?
Yeah, and
but I appreciate it at the same time. I'm like, dude, that kid, he's gonna go somewhere. Like, they're going.
And they're putting the work in, so you can't. Like, you can't. And that's the thing, though. That's kind of the point where, like, me and you are, like, talking about how there's kids who are, like, probably easily way better than us, but we're not, like, sitting in a room crying about it or being like, damn,
damn,
we can appreciate it.
Kid,
it's like, dude, salute to that kid.
Yeah, for real.
If everyone had that mentality, I think things would be like, if everyone was just willing to, like, work together a little bit more. I feel like, you know, there'd be, and, like, I get it, and I experienced, like I said, I experienced this right away. Like I've had people that in the beginning that I thought were like people I could like support on or that would support me, that I could like lean on or ask for like, help if I needed it, that ended up kind of like in the long run I realized, okay, they were like, it wasn't that way. So to me, I mean, that's just life though. That's not anything exclusive to music. It's just something that you have to learn in life where like not everyone always has your best interest in mind. 100%. Like you're the only one with your best interest in mind. So 100%. Like, with, obviously there's always exceptions and outliers to that, but like,
yeah, of course. I mean, and there's always going to be, things that you could justify on and shit like that, but it's
right, exactly.
For the most part.
So I don't know. Like I said, I've always just been focused on, the positives. So regardless of, there's people like that, and it's the industry. I'm sure I'm going to meet people like that along the way, like as I continue to, grow. But like, to me, that's almost, it's not okay, but like, it's okay. Because I'm like, if you guys are going to do that,
it's also kind of part of the journey.
It is, yeah.
Like obviously there is some musicians that may have been like that maybe earlier in their career or right. early. I like to call it rather than career journey, like because dude, music is a journey.
It is,
like.
Yeah.
But there is people maybe early in their journey that they were kind of like the aggressive kind of like vibey type, like where they're like vibing you out every jam session, shit like that. Like
facts.
And
facts.
But. You kind of learn throughout the years, like, because I mean, like I said, I've known people that were kind of like that at the beginning, and now like you go play with them, and they're just like, dude, just like they're just like cool with it, like there's no judgment or anything like that, and because I've also realized, like there's some young kids that go to like some jam sessions and shit like that. I'm not a big guy into going to jam sessions and shit. I like playing with my friends.
It's a great time, man.
It is a great time. It is a great time, but I'm not a big guy to go down to like Baltimore and go to all those jam sessions and shit like that, because most of the time,
for a while.
Yeah, because most of the time, dude, they're playing like jazz, and it's like
I understand that.
I'm not a big jazz bass player. I don't like playing like a lot of that, and so. But I also realize that there is kids that do like doing that, but at the same time they would get like pretty much like. They'd be already so nervous to play it, and then they get up on stage and maybe play one wrong note or something, and the whole group will vibe them.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, that is the one thing. I mean, obviously, yes, there is a time and place to be like, hey, listen, like, like maybe work on your stuff and kind of vibe them in like a kind of a productive way, constructive criticism and stuff like that. But there's always this thing that I've always realized that like there's a certain stigma within like the music scene that I feel like pushes a lot of kids away.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because that's something that I talked with one of my former like band directors from high school about, was that if I would have known, like coming out of high school, or if there would have been other kids who would have known that like when I first started like playing with touring bands and stuff like that, and I realized like, oh, so the only like when you're growing up, all you see is the band or the artist, and they're performing, and it's great. And you see the lights, the show, and like, and so you're like, okay, cool. I could never do that, or like I want to be able to do that, but like I don't have such and such skill, or no, you know what I mean? Like that's all you're thinking about. But I realized like once I started playing with all these groups that, dude, there's a billion jobs behind the scenes that don't require you to know how to perform at all, that are like equally as important to the performance as the performer.
100%, dude. 100%.
So like once I started realizing that, I'm like, dude, if someone would have told me then, or like, I mean, I knew a lot of these things because I feel like I had been around it, but there are a lot of my peers who, no matter how much I told them, or you know what I mean, they didn't physically see it, so they didn't have that point of reference. If they would have known, they're like, dude, listen, you're able to perform, or you're able to be in the music industry and make a living and experience a lot of great things without having to be the guy. Or if you want to be the guy, you don't necessarily have to be the guy in just jazz or classical, which is pretty much in school. Those are your only...
Yeah, that's pretty much all they teach you.
Yeah, you're in concert
school,
band, symphonic band.
Honestly.
Yeah, or you're in jazz band, which is like, cool, we can play some fun stuff. But it's like, once you leave high school, okay, I don't want to, how many of my friends who like were actually pretty good at their instruments, like I would jokingly be like, oh, you still ever play? And I'm like, nah, dude, I mean, what am I going to do? Like, I'm going to play in a jazz band or something like that. Not understanding that there's a billion things you can do with your instrument outside of jazz. But the thing is, no one communicates that with these people.
And it's also kind of like unset. It's also like you said, like, dude, you would, it's kind of like the things they don't teach you in school, kind of like, how to like write taxes off and shit like that.
Sweep, mop, the important things.
Yeah, like literally, yeah. Like how to fucking cook or some shit.
Yeah,
actually,
right.
I mean, sometimes
they kind of teach cooking, but taxes is a great example.
Yeah, but like shit like that. It's like also like they don't teach you like the little things like within music, like you were saying, like,
Right.
and it's kind of hard to even learn about that without having, say, like a mentor or someone that's in the scene.
Right.
See, gratefully for
Right,
me,
right.
I've had a lot of people that are in the scene
Facts.
that have taught me, you know, like those little things that
Same.
no one would know about.
Which is key, which is another thing that I feel like people overlook, is just building your like network of people that you
course.
can like, you can ask them questions. You know, I'm not saying like bother them, but like I'm not at the point where I'm at. I'm sure you're not at the point where you're at, because like we just did it all by ourselves and we
Yeah,
learned on our
no,
own. Like
never.
I've had people that I've bothered for questions and help and all sorts of things along the way that I could call right now during this interview and be like, hey dude, I have a question about this and the third, from all different genres, all different walks of life, and they would be able to be like, dude, I got you, no problem.
And that's the thing. Like, that's one thing that I feel like is kind of not talked about a lot, is the fact of, if you're a, say for instance, teenager, you know, just getting out of high school, or you're still in high school about to, you know, plan for your future, you know, going into other shit, like,
Right.
don't be afraid. And especially obviously now it's kind of hard with COVID and everything, but like when shows start coming around and shit, like, dude, I actually found that, you know, just speaking, like it's weird. Like I would talk to anyone and everyone that was incorporated with anything, like with the show.
Facts.
I would
Same.
like talk to like, you know, sound guy or
Why
something
not?
like that.
Yeah, why not?
Or I would talk to like, you know, I would see like this guy, like I used to smoke cigs. I would be like outside smoking a cig, and there'd be a guy like just smoking a cig or whatever. And I remember I was either at Soundstage or Ram's Head, and I was smoking a cig outside, and I'm like just talking with this dude, and he turned out to be, I can't remember the band he was, but he turned out to be like this tour manager for this huge band. And I was like,
Extremely important.
what the
Yeah.
fuck? I was like,
Yeah.
and I would have never known, because I wasn't there to just be like, yo man, like tell me this and that.
Yeah,
like it's
yeah,
just like,
yeah.
yo, like what's up? Like
Yes.
I tried to actually build a relationship with these people and
Right.
actually become friends with them,
Right.
rather than just use, because there is a big stigma with that, where
Yeah.
people will be in the scene and they'll just like try and use you for everything that you
Facts.
know.
Facts.
And that's a big problem with a lot of people, that they try to just use you for everything you know, and that's it.
Yeah, which as you like experience more and more things, you'll be able to tell the difference.
Exactly,
quickly.
totally,
Like it's because it's now like that I've been in it for a while. Like it's painfully obvious when it's that.
Oh, dude,
You know
and,
what I mean? Like,
I know exactly
it
what you
happens
mean,
to
too.
me, like where I even like it's starting to happen to me more now. I feel like where I can tell the difference on who's like hitting me up because they generally just like what I'm doing,
Yeah.
or they just kind of see like an opportunity in what I'm doing to either like, you know, get close to me for whatever reason.
Yeah, and that's
and it sucks. Like
yeah,
I'm
it
just
really
like,
does, because
come on,
it's
bro.
like, yeah, like because there is a lot of good people out there with you know,
Right.
good intentions, but there is also a lot of good, you know, maybe they look cool and they look like they're doing good, but they have bad
Right.
intentions, and they're just trying to, you know, kind of use you for everything that you know,
Yeah, it
and
happens.
then benefit for themselves. And you know what?
That's a
That's
life
actually
thing.
a part of the process.
That's just life. That's
Yeah,
not even
real
music.
shit.
Like that's just people. People just
People
do
are
that.
just like that
Yeah, it's
sometimes.
unfortunate.
But I kind of like the fact of, you know, there is one big takeaway from this, is that build your network.
Yeah.
That is the biggest thing. And if you
key.
can get a mentor, if you can't, that's
couple
not,
of 'em.
yeah, a couple of them.
of 'em.
It is hard at first.
It
I mean,
is, yeah.
but you can't expect yourself to get like this mentor that's going to tell you all the things you need to know,
Yeah.
without at least just putting into work to be like, yo, like, this may not happen, you know, next month. This may not happen, you know, next year. This may not
Right.
happen for a few
But
years.
just work- just work for it.
Just
Yeah.
work and go for it. And once you get that kind of repertoire to where like you can have like, you know, like you said, like a group of people, like I have a
Yeah.
group of people that are in the music scene and or like within like the business side of
Mm-hmm.
things within music, that I can call right now and they could answer me any question I need.
Of course.
And it's the same thing with you. Like you need to build up your network, because I mean, I don't really know anyone. If there is anyone, let me know. I don't know anyone that's ever done it by themselves.
Nah, it doesn't.
There's literally no. I don't think
Even
there
when you think there is.
There's no one that's ever done it by themselves where like they've done everything themselves and they have had no help.
Right.
Because there's always that one thing where, and a lot of time, dude, and people are gonna get mad at me for saying this. A lot of time, it's just luck. You know, it's luck. Like, dude, I remember like one time, like it was actually funny, and I'm kind of not the one to be telling this story because I wasn't there. But say, for instance, with the guy we're working with now, his name's Ted, and he's in a very successful reggae band. And it was actually funny because the way we got in touch with him was, and like I said, I might be telling this very wrong, and I may have Jack come on and tell this story, but
Right.
Jack and Conrad like snuck backstage to one of their shows and
Dangerous
met
game.
like one of and like met one of Ted's really good friends, and that was actually the guy who painted that right there.
Absolutely.
But they met one of his friends, and they thought we were some other band. And Jack and my friend Conrad were like, we're just gonna roll with it, man.
Right, yeah,
do our thing. And
yeah.
they got introduced to him, and he was like, "Yo, I love your band." He said the band's name. I'm gonna leave the band unnamed, but he said the band's name, and he was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, that's not us." And that's when he kind of like broke the news to him. He was like, "That's not us. Like we're in a band called Neverending Fall at Neff." And he was like, "Oh, cool, man, cool."
Man.
And then little did we know that he was moving to Maryland, and he had like a recording studio he was setting up. And he was like, "Yo, if you guys ever want to record, hit me up." And we were like, yeah, like let's do it." So next, after that, I mean, we went to record with him, I think either a month or two after that. And then we actually were fortunate enough. He asked us to play at his wedding, and we played at his wedding. And dude, it was fucking wild. That was one of the best weekends ever.
Wedding gigs are always the best anyway.
Dude, it was insane. But keep in mind, this guy he's deep in the music scene. So there was a bunch of people in the business that were at this wedding, and that kind of helped us, like I said, with the luck, that kind of helped us, build our network. And we were introduced to a lot of people that we would have never been introduced to. If we were never introduced, or if we never had taken, say, that chance,
right? But you created it. That's the thing.
Exactly,
like,
that's exactly it. And a lot of people get that wrong, where they're just like, "Yo, like I need to meet this person now."
Yeah.
And it's like we never went into it with that intention of just like, kind of like just meeting this person to get their network. That was never the intention ever. But it was just like we just so happened to meet this guy. We built a really good relationship with him, and his network kind of fell into the same page. As like, dude, we like you guys' music, we love what you guys do, like
exactly.
And we kind of built the network in which that can help.
Which goes hand in hand to the whole point of like even like sacrifice. Like I feel like I've reached a point where I'm like, cool, like I found my pocket, like I found my lane these past couple of years. But like, and every time I reach a new pocket or reach a new audience, everyone from my hometown is like super happy for me. But what people don't realize is that like from high school to like pretty much a few years ago, that 10 years was a whole point. It was a whole time of me like figuring that out,
grinding your shit
that people don't see. Like an internship that I did in Silver Spring for like 6 months, where I wasn't getting paid for it, and I was going there 3 days a week, driving back and forth every day from Havity Grace to Silver Spring.
Yeah, that's a far drive.
It was a far drive, but like I was working at like a management / record label, and it was it was called Outer Loop, and they were working with a lot of the bands at the time that I was into. I was in a local band, like a couple of local bands, and I was just like, yo, like this could be a great opportunity. I went to a music conference, and I met the dude who owns it, and me and him just by chance ended up like just connecting. I would
hitting it off or whatever.
Yeah, I just ask him questions, or we would just talk to him. Like I would just talk to him, and it ended up being one of those things where he had mentioned to me like, dude, I'm doing this internship. You should look into it because like you got a great attitude and stuff like that. Like I can tell you're a hard worker. And I would like message him after the music conferences, be like, hey man, I just appreciate you taking the time to like talk to me and stuff like that. So it's like people underestimate those things as well, which is a whole nother tangent that I'm not even gonna get on, because like if you don't know, you don't know. But like it's the things like that to where like I was like, cool, I'm not gonna be getting paid for this next like 5 to 6 months or whatever it is. I might not ever get paid, but like I'm going to go in there. I'm going to learn more about the music industry. I'm going to learn more about social media and how to use it, because that's all I was doing when I was in there. I was literally running bands pages that that I was into. I literally had their social medias in my phone, like their Instagrams or Facebook, whatever. And I was the one posting and keeping track of their, merch sales and stuff like that, and how like the money put into like their posts translated to concert ticket sales, like all that stuff. So I started learning about the business that way firsthand, just jumping right into it. Or when I was in a local band for years doing that thing and doing this, like people don't, or when I was going to community college, just studying, doing private lessons or whatever, like people don't understand that, like, yeah, I might have reached my lane just now, but the only reason that I was able to do that is because it's been 10 years of me trying to figure out, like, I was just grinding it out.
Like you were grinding your shit out in the background that nobody sees.
And no one saw
That's
any
like
of
the
that.
same thing with
No
like
one
that
saw
one.
any of that.
It's like that one thing with the quote where it's like, nobody's an overnight success.
No one. They don't. And
nobody is.
And the funny thing is though, is that like, so that during that whole 10-year process, when I'm like, I was in this a band called Listen for the Light. We were doing like metal rock stuff, and I was in a pop punk band called Chasing Morgan, and we were doing like.
I know who Chasing Morgan is.
Yeah, I was a drummer for years, like for a long time. Like,
I feel like. That was a local band, correct?
Yeah. From out of here. This is how I know how to get here, because like we used to practice up here.
Yeah, I know exactly. I know who Chasing Morgan.
They're the homies. Like they put me on to like all the, so like even what I'm doing now, like the sax stuff, how like when I first started, like I was covering all the pop punk bands, you know, even when I first started covering like Paramore and Neck Deep and all that kind of stuff, like they were the first people to put me on to like the new wave of pop punk, like Story So Far and like all the bands that they were all into them.
100%.
I had no idea who these bands were. The only reason I even joined the band is because I met the lead singer at HTC. And he was like, I told him I played drums in church, and he was like, we just got rid of our drummer. I don't know if it's your style, but just come audition, see what happens. And they ended up keeping me. So it's like,
that's pretty crazy. See, that's the thing.
bananas.
Like,
You
you're
don't
a
know.
gospel drummer. You play like drums in gospel music,
Right,
and you're
right.
getting asked to play in
Right.
you know, heavy metal band or whatever.
it just starts with simple communication, though.
Exactly,
Like we're
bro.
in class. I'm like, hey man, what's going on? And then we end up talking. Oh, he's in a band. Oh man, that's cool. Like word. And then we just start building from there.
That's the networking.
That's
dude.
the
That's
network.
networking
It starts
right
with
there.
a simple conversation.
It's the small things that you would never expect, but those small things will get you in kind of like in a trajectory that will put you into the spot that you want to be.
Exactly.
Because like I said, there's nothing that happens overnight.
Nothing.
So, I mean, maybe sometimes, you know, like say like with
It's
that
rare.
connection, like a connection may happen overnight.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
That can definitely happen, but it's like you need to build up a network, and that is one thing that I always stress. I kind of talk to my one friend. His name's Nick, and I kind of always tell him, I'm like, dude, once COVID's over with, like, you need to be going to like all these shows. Like, you need to be going to every show you could possibly go to.
Anything.
Like, dude, just meet the people. And
Yeah.
you know, if it's appropriate, ask them a question about something. Maybe
Yeah.
like if you're in a conversation with them,
Yeah.
ask them a simple question. Don't be like, you know, trying to like ask them like, yo man, like give me the manager's number or some shit like that. Like don't go onto that. But like
that's terrible.
just be like, yo man, do you have any like advice for like, you know, an upcoming musician?
Right.
It may not be, you know, the life-changing advice, but it's something.
It's something.
And that's the thing. And that's the thing that people kind of discredit. It's like, dude, just do the small things. Do the small things.
Exactly. And it's like, again, it's not I think the thing that turns people off from doing that kind of stuff is because they know like a lot of my friends, we graduated high school, they went to college, and a lot of them, you know, they have kids now, they're married, they got jobs. Like that's the trajectory that they wanted to do. I always knew that's not really what I wanted to do. I wanted to just do my own thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to like raise a family and be, you know, a touring musician.
Right. But like I understand that
There's people that do it though.
There is people that do
Respect
it. Sometimes it's not even always that people don't want to like have those conversations, or people don't want to like build connections or anything, but like they just understand that that's just not something that they're willing to sacrifice, because there's no like, you know, if you're going to go to college, you're probably going to be done within this certain amount of time, and then you get a job, cool, like you can plan all that out. But like, you know, from when I graduated till now, like I couldn't have told you any of where my life was going to go, because I was like, dude, I don't know, I have a feeling, I have a gut feeling, and I know this is going to help me get to where I want to be, so I'm just going for it. People, that's scary. Like it was scary to me coming home every day trying to explain to my family, like, listen, you guys just got to trust me. Like I think I know what I'm doing. I think I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like just trust me on this. And like they're parents and they're my family. They want to see what's best for me. But until I just proved it on my own, to where I started like being like, listen, see like the shows I'm doing, and see like this, I'm hitting a lot of marks right now.
And there's always this thing I like to call, it's like climbing a ladder.
Yeah.
Like,
but when you're at the bottom, obviously no one's gonna just be I mean, they're my family. They always want to give me their support.
I know what you mean though. I know what you mean though. Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's also like, yo, this is life. Like we want to see you do well. We don't want to see you, you know, just do this, that, and the
No
third.
one wants to see you fail. No one wants to see you.
Exactly. And and you know as well as I do, like being a musician is something that a lot of people do. Like I don't want to say fail at, but it's just hard to meet marks. You know what I mean? It's hard to meet that top
100%.
spot. So it wasn't until, you know, and it's the same way in my community, like it wasn't until I really, really started, you know, playing more consistently, playing with a lot of bands and stuff like that, playing a lot of big shows and being on big records, that people were like, oh, okay, cool. Like
Now I see what you're doing.
Now he knows what he's doing. Now we see what he's doing. So it's like, you have to believe before anyone else does. And I felt like that whole time, whether I was playing in this band, whether I was doing an internship, whether I was going to HCC, whatever it was, I always believed, not to get super cheesy, but I always believed in myself as a musician, as a person. I was going to figure it out. It might not be during this though. Like the internship, to me, I knew this might not be it. I'm not going to land a job and then I'll be cool. Like this is going to be a step to get me to the next point.
You have to take the steps.
See, but people aren't. That's the thing.
They're not willing to do it.
They don't want to take the step because it's scary, because
and it's a long process. Sometimes it's not overnight.
Yeah, and the circumstances might be different. I was in a place where I'm like, cool, I can afford to drive to Silver Spring every day, back and forth, and I don't have, you know, kids or anything like that, or, you know, a situation where like, you know, financially I wasn't able to handle that. I was able to handle that. So it's like, that was just the circumstance for me. Not everyone has those same circumstances. So.
And that's kind of like with me. Like, I mean, I'm pretty open about it. I don't care. Like, I still live at home with my mom. Like,
right.
And I mean, obviously, like, I've been helping her out because I had a death in the family. But
salute.
Yeah, but it's like, dude, like, I've realized, I've taken every, opportunity that I have and kind of like, I've been grateful for it. Like, I'm grateful enough to where like, yeah, obviously I have some bills to pay, but it's like my mom doesn't charge me rent. Like, and I'm just like, dude, I don't care about like, I have humility in the fact of like, like, I don't care if you're, oh, I'm 23 years old, I got to move out. Like the whole, like the whole thing around like, yeah, once you turn 18, once you get out of high school, you got to move out, do your thing. And it's like, dude, like I'm still doing my thing, at home. And obviously, I've made the best out of it, but it's like, I've kind of done that in a way to where I can kind of like plan for myself to be like, dude, like, I'm just doing this because like I don't want to screw myself. Like if I get out of here, like, and obviously my mom is supportive in everything that I do, but it's like, dude, if I get out of here, like I'm fucked. Like, dude, one thing, like financially, I'm fucked. Like, So it's like I'm saving up all the money now, and it's like I have very minor expenses, but it's like, why do I want to move out? Like, there's no real reason for me to move out. And I know I'm kind of going down like a rabbit hole.
That's
right
cool,
now,
man. I understand. Everyone's situation is different.
It's different.
You shouldn't look down on anyone because theirs might be different than yours, or they just make different life choices than yours.
Exactly.
Like, it's totally up to every person. So I appreciate the fact that I'm blessed to have parents and family that just are like, dude, do your thing. Because one, clearly,
same with me, man.
Clearly, you know what you're doing. Yeah. It's working. So whatever support you need, go ahead.
Here for you. We're here.
Not everyone has that, so like I'm definitely super appreciative of like my family for just being like, dude, like if you know what you're doing, dude, do your thing.
And that's exactly it. And I kind of want to maybe I want to maybe give advice to maybe someone who doesn't have supportive parents, because obviously like when you're first starting music, I mean, yes, they love and support you obviously, but like there is that little bit of time like when you're first starting where they're just going to be like, are you sure this
like what
is
are you
right?
doing? Like
what are you doing?
Are you making any money? Are you doing trust
it's always
me, bro.
that it's always, are you making money,
bro?
like,
Listen, I'm gonna go ahead and say this. Some of my family are probably gonna see this, but I don't care. Like I can't tell you like how many times like I was like playing in the band or doing something, and have a family dinner or holidays, people be like, go around the table and everyone's talking about what they're doing and they're landing this job or doing this, that, and the third, and then it gets to you're the fucking musician and everyone's looking at you like, so, or what are you gonna do? And I'm like, oh, like we actually we just opened for this band the other day and like things are like I feel like going pretty well, and it's like, well, are you making any money from that? And then I'm like, dude, listen, like I totally understand that you guys are 45, 50 plus and you all got your like cushy jobs in the houses and you're fine and you went down this road. But like, yo, please don't look down on me because like I'm on a totally different path than you and I have just a different plan than you guys. And now all those family members are like, oh my God, we love what you're doing. It's great. And like, salute to them. I appreciate it. But don't think I don't remember that, because I definitely do. Trust me. Every time I see you guys and you guys are like, oh my God, and you're sharing my stuff. I love it. You guys are the best. I love all of you.
10 years ago, it wasn't that.
10 years ago was not like that. And I remember all that stuff. So don't think I don't. Shout out to y'all. But like,
love you guys.
You guys. But like my mom, my dad, my brother, they were the ones like from the jump, and with I had a bunch of other family members as well who definitely supported me from the beginning. So I don't want to say this is not all of them. Yeah. But like there were definitely family and friends that were just kind of like, oh well, like what's the plan? Like what are you gonna do? And like so how did you can just tell they're not trying to be demeaning necessarily. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. But like they just don't understand.
I know what you mean.
But now like, because I'm in a different spot, it's all love. But what I really want to try to get through to all of them is that you can't get to this spot without doing all that in between. Like that was my process to getting to this spot, and I wouldn't have been able to get to this point where I can do some of the things I'm doing without those 10 years of me trying to figure it out. And because my way of figuring out was maybe different than your way of figuring it out, doesn't make it any better or worse. It's just different ways. So the thing that you're saying is just advice. One, for the older people who have kids or have relatives or nieces, nephews, whatever, that may be going down a different life path. Like, I'm not saying just let them run around and do whatever the hell they want. I'm not saying that at all. But like, you really would be surprised like how much the support and little things go to people like us, to where we're in those positions trying to figure it out. Those little bits of like affirmation and just like, dude, you know what? Like, I believe in you. Do your thing. Like, dude, it goes such a long way. And those little like condescending vibes of like, oh, are you making money, or are you like all that? It's the fucking worst. Stop doing that, please.
Yes.
Like, trust me.
And one thing to speak on to that is that and this could be also another piece of advice for maybe a kid out there, you know, trying to, you know, tell their parents like what they're doing and kind of have them believe in them. I remember in the beginning when I was first starting a band, like obviously I was like 15 or something like that. And I was doing my thing, but I've learned that rather than just, you know, saying, yeah, I'm in a band, mom, like, dude, like we're on our pursuit of happiness.
Facts.
Like that's what it is. Like we're on our pursuit of happiness. And also when you're doing this thing, I mean, dude, for me at least, like, the fucking music scene is hard on the, you know, mental psyche.
Hell
like,
yeah.
You know, like you're already stressed out. Like you already feel like everyone's kind of just like laughing at you and or like just like not in support 100%. You just feel like, you know, you're kind of like, you know, like you were saying, like when you're at the family dinners, you kind of I don't, like I said, I'm speaking for myself right now.
They're not taking you seriously.
It's kind of like, yeah, and you're kind of like not the laughing stock, but like, you know,
they
like,
ain't taking you serious.
Yeah, they're not taking you seriously, and that's like when you were saying the words of affirmation. Like, dude, if you're a parent out there listening to this and your kid's in a band or they're into music, dude, support
give
them.
And like my thing is, just give them the time. Like they have more time than you think. Like just give them the time to figure it out because like sometimes it's either gonna go one way or the other. They're gonna figure it out for themselves, or they'll understand, or they won't, and then cool. But like, you got to give them the time for themselves. Like, there's people I know who did the band thing, and then after some time, they figured out it really wasn't for them.
And more power to them.
They kept going with something else.
They did their thing, though.
Yeah, they did their thing. They got jobs, and they're cool. It's like, but they wouldn't have figured that out if they didn't have that time. And they also learned from the experiences. And then on the other side is the people who were able to get those experiences and kept moving up. Like, you have to give kids and young people that time. And it doesn't always have to be the time that you think either. Like, give them their own time to figure it out for themselves. Whatever age that is, whatever point that is in their lives, like, that goes such a long way. And I just feel like we're at the point now where it's like, dog, it's just not, we're not in the 90s, we're not in the 80s anymore. Like, let them figure it out for themselves. They will be okay.
Yeah,
like,
they will be okay.
They'll be okay. I knew I was gonna be okay. And I'm not even talking from a point where I feel like I'm like this big established artist now. I'm not saying that at all because, like, you know, I understand the risks that I'm taking choosing this lifestyle. I'm sure you are too.
Yeah, of course.
But like, every single year I look back and I'm like, cool, am I a little bit further than I was the year prior to where I'm trying to go?
That's all that matters.
That's all that matters because I know that if I'm doing that and I'm moving up exponentially, then I'm going to get to that point. Whenever that time comes, I'm not even worried about it as long as I feel like each year, each month, each week, whatever it is, like, am I a little bit closer to the point that I want to get to than I was whatever time period beforehand?
Exactly.
And
bro.
I feel like I've been on that trajectory. So it's like, and like I said, the support that I've been getting over the past few years, I definitely feel like has changed from, like, you know, like I said, me being in a local band or just being Tony, who happens to play the sax sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, now, you know, I'm Saxl Rose and everyone from my community is showing mad love, but it's like, it took a while to get to that point. You know what I mean?
It really does. And one thing, another takeaway for maybe a parent out there listening, or maybe a kid trying to explain it to their parents or whatever.
Right.
Like, dude, you always got to understand nothing happens overnight.
No, hell no.
And a lot of parents out there, they do think that, you know, like, hey, you should, if this doesn't work out in the next few months or year, like, you have to, you know, quit this, honey. And it's like, no, like, dude, when you're in your pursuit of happiness, like, as long as you're just doing a thing that makes you happy, just keep doing it.
Exactly.
Just keep doing it. Like, dude, don't ever focus on monetary gains or anything. Like, I'm not doing this podcast for money. Like, yeah, I put money into it, but it's like, dude, I'm not doing it for money. I'm not doing it for anything like that. I'm just trying to, you know, have a good time, you know, have, you know, cool conversations with, like, you know, super cool people and stuff like that. And that's basically all I'm doing with this. And it makes me happy. I've always wanted to do, like, radio and stuff, so I decided to do this. And the same thing with the band. I've always loved music. I've always been surrounded, but my family's been a very, you know, heavily influenced by music. Like, so it's like, I've always kind of gone down that path, and it's hard to explain to your parents, I know, and it's hard for parents to understand. It is, but it as long as your kid is happy, and, you know, obviously sometimes, there's going to be stressful times within the music, but like, as long as your kid is just like, yo, this is my passion, this is what I want to do, I'm in my pursuit of happiness, dude, that's all that matters. You need to support them, and like you said, give them the words of affirmation. Just be like, yo, you're doing it, man. You're doing
the money will come, and
slowly but surely,
and like and money definitely is important. I want everyone to understand that as well. I think the difference is that, like, I definitely needed that time to where, like, I knew I wasn't going to make any money from
exactly.
doing this, that, and the third. Like, I knew doing the local band thing and playing the shows and traveling, like, I knew that I was going to be putting money into something that I wasn't necessarily going to be making a whole lot back. That's just part of the grind.
Exactly.
And everyone's grind is everyone has to go through the grind, whatever that is.
And sometimes it's unique to yourself, though.
Exactly. Some people's grind is like the internship before they get the job. They know they're making no money, or like whatever it is, going to college and
sneaking backstage and faking you're a band. You know?
Yeah, sneaking backstage, whatever the case is.
Acting like you're a different band.
Everyone's grind is different, though. So now,
I'm not saying you should do.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
but
I definitely needed that space to where I knew I wasn't going to be making any money because I just needed to put the work in. But now I'm at the point now where like, yo, you ain't getting the Saxl Rose feature for nothing at this point.
Exactly.
And I have a regular flow of like features and stuff like that and merch sales and all kinds of different streams of income now because I was able to put the work in to where I didn't have to necessarily focus on that.
Exactly, bro. And one thing I want us to talk onto that is I've kind of always looked at life as a infinite ladder.
Right.
And if you think about life as an infinite ladder, it will help you so much. Like, yeah, right. I mean, think about it this way. When you're first born, that infinite ladder is, you're at the bottom. When you're first born, you're at the bottom of the ladder.
Thanks.
You're always going up. Think of it as an infinite ladder because whenever you go through struggles in life, say, in your pursuit of music and stuff like that, like, yeah, you may fall off the ladder and you may slide down a little bit. But as long as you're just still on the ladder climbing, that's all that matters. Yes, you may have, little hiccups here and there and you may fall off the ladder, but as long as you just stay or get back on, just keep climbing, dude, because that's all that matters because that shit.
Big facts.
And I think you can have a good takeaway from this quote. I've always kind of like learned from this quote is nothing good comes easy and anything easy is never good.
Facts.
Like literally, like nothing good comes easy, but anything easy is usually never good.
Yeah, it's rare that it is.
And there is, we can debate about that.
No, there's always going to be outliers, but I'm just saying, like, normally,
for the most part, in your pursuit of happiness,
if it seems too good to be true,
if it seems too good to be true,
it usually is.
99% of the time, it is.
It usually is. Yeah, it usually
but
is.
Maybe you might get that 1%
until you get to that point where you can kind of what we were talking about earlier, which you can kind of like create your own luck. You know what I mean?
Or your own destiny, kind of.
Yeah, because it's the same thing where I feel like people like look at certain things and they're like, yo, how does these things continue to happen? Like, how is he getting this lucky? And it's like, oh, like, that whole time where you guys were like, out doing this, that, and the third, or like I was trying to tell you to plan and you were just kind of like, whatever. That was when I was doing my homework and putting the work in to where like now I'm at the point, like even with like with the Wiz thing, like I've been a Wiz fan a long time, bro. Like I've been listening to Wiz a long fucking time and going to the shows, buying the meet and greet tickets, like doing all that stuff. Really just being a fan of like the lifestyle that he in like the journey that he was creating, but also paying attention to like how he was marketing himself, how he was branding himself, the things that people watching the videos don't really take that
they don't really care about, or
they just don't know. Their mind isn't there.
They don't know. Exactly. They don't know. They don't know. They're kind of clueless to that.
Yeah, but I'm paying attention to the fact that like, okay, bro was releasing like steady, like regular videos, consistent videos showing like just his daily life that people care about because he's giving y'all like a lifestyle and he's letting y'all feel like you're a part of the process. So that to me was like, okay, a note that I took away, like where that's a good idea. Like things like that I was able to learn along the way. And then years of fucking, covering the songs and stuff like that and getting some of that social media like back and forth with him to where like when it came to the point where, he was working on a new project and my name was just going around his circle, I happened to be at the right place at the right time to where when he hit me up to work together, I was in the right spot at the right time. So exactly. It's like people could see it as luck, but it's like you didn't see that whole time.
You didn't see the background. There's nothing behind the scenes that you guys see.
You didn't, like y'all didn't. It seems so silly like to say because it just seems so like small, but it's like when I was like going to school, when I was watching like the day-to-days that he would post like the YouTube videos.
I remember that.
Yeah, exactly. When I'm posting, when I was watching those and stuff like that, and I just feel like I was taking away, like trust me, they were partying and having a great time and stuff that. But I just feel like I was really taken away from like a lot of this, like even his manager Will, like he did a podcast that I listened to, and like just seeing how they moved as a whole, I was like learning from watching them to where like you might not understand it, but it did, like being able to watch them did help my own journey.
100%.
And when I got to meet him for the first time, I was just like, bro, like I did get to tell him that, like, yo, thank you for putting me on the project, but like just for just being you, because
you have to give it an
me.
acknowledgement,
It's helped
because
me,
it's like, dog, like you are
It was an
one of the
influence,
reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing now.
Exactly.
Like,
it was definitely a major influence. So
that's so awesome that you got to do that, dude.
Yeah,
That's so
man.
cool,
I mean,
man.
hey, Big Pimpin', go stream it. Go stream it now. Yeah, go stream it now.
That's awesome though, man.
Yeah,
and I feel like this kind of segues into maybe some of the last topics I want to bring up, but
Cool.
I want to talk about how Instagram is an actual platform and it can get you in networks with other artists that, maybe some kids out there, they have like a cool social media thing, but it's like, I feel like a lot of people don't realize, you can use your social media as a business networking thing. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, yes. I don't think, well, actually, I know for a fact, like I remember talking to my mom about this, talking to my friends about this. I personally there would be no Saxl Rose. There would be none of the stuff that I feel like I've been able to do without social media. And that's just a fact. And like, people hate on social media all the time, and trust me, there's negatives and positives that come with it and come with anything. But like, bro, without me being able to like take videos of myself playing 2 songs and put them on the internet for people to see and people to share them and people to like none of what I'd be doing right now, I would still be like just probably playing local and doing something else, honestly, because that's where honestly everything really, like that's when everything started happening for me. When I posted like the first Paramore cover that I did, when I think I posted a couple videos on my Facebook of me like playing to maybe like Kim Waters or something like that, because he's like one of my favorite sax players.
Yeah.
I'd done some videos, and like he's definitely been one of my mentors along the way as well, just on like the smooth jazz side of things. Man. Like he's always been one of those dudes. Like, so I posted a couple videos like that. But I remember like I saw Paramore live for the first time, and my friend, my best friend Kevin, aka Big Sideways, was telling me like how sick Paramore was, and I was just like, cool, you know what I mean? Because I gotta be honest with you, in high school when that whole thing was going on, I missed that wave. I just missed the Paramore wave. Like I was aware.
A lot of my friends were into it, but I just wasn't.
I heard the hits, trust me, but like I kind of missed that wave. I was just into some other shit at the time. But anyway, what I'm saying is when I finally like saw them live and I was like, cool, I'm gonna cover this song. Literally, it was from that point where I saw Paramore to 9 months later or 8 months later, I was on stage with them, and in between that time was when I had posted like my first video, like, and she saw it and she shared it, and that kind of just sparked the whole wave of like where it clicked for me, where I'm like, dude, and it's not even about like I've never cared about views, like personally. I don't really care about the numbers. Like if I get a video that does like, you know, a really big number, cool, I'll be like, hey, I appreciate the support.
Yeah, thanks. Like,
I'm just not one of those guys where I'm like worried about like, you know, my YouTube subscribers anymore. I'm not worried about like if I get this many views on a video. I want to go away from the video feeling like, cool, like people took that in, they enjoyed it.
Well, you made it for yourself, like, and you're also rather. And I actually just watched a video while I was driving over here. It was about Gary Vee talking about he was like the difference between making content for monetary gain versus just making content for, say, just for someone to enjoy it.
Right.
There's a big difference.
Huge difference.
You can tell.
You can tell.
And I feel like you've done a really good job with, you know, leveraging your social media as, you know, a business. Kind of as a business platform, like that is like
it's
like
all
you said,
biz.
It's all business.
It's all
like
biz.
And people, you know, they see it and they're like, oh, this is so cool. Like I love what you do, man, and everything like that.
Everything's
but it's like
planned out. Like
everything is planned out, and people don't understand that. And that is one big takeaway that, you know, some kids listen to this right now. Like, dude, just leverage the audience you already have,
right?
Rather than trying to dive into like, you know, other things and just like wishing you could be at this point, or, you know, watching somebody on Instagram or some social media app where they have hundreds of thousands of followers and you're like, oh, I want to be there. And it's like, dude, I had this conversation with my friend who's a strength and conditioning coach. He's like, don't let your ego drive you. He was like, just do what you got to do. Because like, he was talking like, there's a lot of people you see like lifting big weights, you know, getting real buff, and it's like,
ain't me.
It ain't me either.
Ain't me, bro.
No, but it's like it kind of relays back to what we're talking about. It's like, you don't go on Instagram and watch, you know, some Olympic athlete lifting weights and be like, yo, I want to be there. That's who I want to be like. And it's like, cool. Yeah. Use that as motivation. But at the same time, like there's always going to be, you know, like stepping stones you have to get through that you don't see on that, you know, account or whatever. And that's kind of like how you've done like your thing with like you're using Instagram and stuff like that as a business platform.
Yeah, it is.
You know?
It didn't start that way. And I think that's the other thing that people like.
Did it kind of happen just naturally though?
It happened naturally. That's the thing, to where like I figured out a formula, and I think that's the key, is that I figured out my own personal like formula that I was able to change and you know, get right over time. But like it started with a very simple formula: song I like, plus my sax or whatever instrument I feel like including, plus video, plus Instagram equals, you know, whatever results that I would get from
Totally.
it. But that started with the idea of my own personal, like I had people on my Facebook who, or like my socials, who just knew I played the sax, who were just like my friends who just, you know, wanted to see me do well.
Like circle and stuff.
It started there where like it was just my friends and family going, oh, that sounds great. Like, that's awesome. Like, cool.
And that's honestly where it always starts.
That's where it starts.
Yeah,
So
your friends and family.
Yeah. So to me, once the idea hit me of like, cool, like I was actually in the studio with my band recording like an album, and the producer was working on a like a pop side project that he was doing. And I remember like we were in the room, and this is when like I was just really focused on the band. I really wasn't focused on the sax as a main thing. The sax had always been just like a thing I did on the side. I did gigs, made money, but I was always focused on like the band stuff. So I remember we're in the studio and he was working on this pop song, and he like mentioned like, dude, I wish I had like a sax on this like part, you know what I mean? Cause it would just rip. And my friend Johnny was like, yo, like Tony plays sax. And he was like, really? Like you should bring it in the next session, and like you can play on this, it'll be sick. So I did. And when I just remember his reaction of like when I brought the sax in there, he just was like, I remember he was just fucking mind blown. Like he was just like, whoa, this is so sick. And I was just like, I guess this is kind of sick. I just didn't really think about it.
And it's different.
Yeah. So I remember it clicked like when I did that in the studio. This is before I did any videos. I just remember thinking like, I think I did a couple of videos on Facebook, but I remember thinking like, oh yeah, like this is like he's really enjoying this, and it made a big deal on the song. Like I'm sure I could do this for other people, because like I do play the sax, and I've made a lot of connections with playing with the band. Like I've met this band and this artist and this artist, and I know these people. Like maybe I could do that for some more people if more people knew that I played. So I was like, maybe I should like start covering some songs and shit like that to just raise awareness about me as a musician, not even necessarily about views or anything, but just for people to know, hey, I do the band shit, but I play the sax too.
100%.
And the funny thing is, like a lot of the band dudes, like I was playing in a fucking metal band, a lot of those dudes knew me for playing in a metal band. So when I started playing the sax and like ripping shit, they were like, we didn't even fucking know you played sax. I was like, dude, I was doing the sax first. Like
I started on this shit.
You just didn't know, like, you know what I mean? Like I was playing the sax first. So it's like, once I started really focusing on like, cool, like let me just make some videos to songs that I think are cool, not necessarily like, cool, I play the sax. Let me see, you know, whatever jazz standards that are just typical. I was like, you know what? I woke up today, I feel like playing Paramore. I'm gonna play that. And the next day I woke up and this Wiz song was stuck on my head, so I'm gonna play the fucking chorus and the bridge to that and put that video up, because like I just think it's cool.
Yeah, you're just doing it for yourself.
I can do whatever I want.
Yeah,
it's
you
my
can do whatever you want.
I can do whatever the fuck I want. So they just started getting results. So then in my head, I'm just like, people are taking to this, so there's no reason for me to stop. Plus, I like doing this, so it's a win-win for me. And then because I did this, and these people heard about me, this other band who maybe follows that band, they hit me up and like, hey, like we'd love for you to do that, like on our shit. And then it became a thing of I started covering these songs, and those songs I started covering, the bands would be like, hey, we're coming to your city on this date, you should play that song with us like live, it'd be sick. And that's how the whole Neck Deep thing happened. I did the Paramore cover. Danny the drummer saw and was like, yo, you should do that to one of our songs. I sent him the video of me doing it to In Bloom, and he was like, dude, you should come play with us live in Baltimore. We're doing that in a couple weeks. And I was already going anyway because I was a fan. I bought tickets. I was like, sick. And then
you were already going?
I was already going.
Oh shit!
I fucking love Neck Deep.
That's fucking awesome,
dude. I love Neck Deep, dude. They're such a good band.
But that's such an awesome story, though. Like that's like the in the pursuit of happiness and shit like that. Like, dude, that's such a cool story.
It came natural, and I think that's the thing that people overlook, is that like you don't necessarily have to like go and look for this grand like, oh, like what can I, like people ask me all the time like, how do you do this and a third? What can I do? Like, do I have to do? I'm like, dude, what is it that you do that already gets you like some results? It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but like, is there anything that you do? It could be drawing, it could be fucking, I don't know, it could be talking,
exactly.
You know, like, it could be anything. What is it that gets you the results? And all you got to do is just maximize that. And it's going to start here, and it's going to do this and do this. That's all I've done over the past 3 years, is be like, cool, this got me some results and I enjoy doing it. I'm going to keep doing it because I enjoy it. And then whatever comes from it. And it's created this like routine where I'm like, cool, like, I kind of know what's going to get me what at this point. And then from there, I just started incorporating like, oh yeah, I play guitar too. I'm going to do that on this video. And then it's like, oh, you can play guitar. And then I was like, I've been rapping for a long time, just like on the side. You know, I'm not trying to be like a rapper, but like I can rap. So I started incorporating.
He's a singer too. He's a singer too.
Yeah, like, yeah. And then like just.
Good singer too.
Yeah, yo, come on. Like, and then incorporating the vocals and then incorporating keys. And then in turn, this has also made me better because the thing is, and this is something I'll credit to my dad and my band director from high school, Mr. Huff. They told me from from a very young age, like record yourself playing, like take videos of yourself playing, and that's like the best way how to learn. And it was something that I always just like, okay, that makes sense, whatever. But I just never really thought about it until I started doing that myself for like my own enjoyment, like posting cover videos and stuff like that. And what I'll be able to do is see those videos and be like, you know, it's like a song. Like you ever make a song and you put the song out and it's the best song of all time when you put it out. But then in 6 months or whatever, when you listen back to the song, it's like, cool, I could probably do this better and do this better now that I can hear it. It's that for me every time I post a video. So I've been able to keep track on my YouTube page. It's like, it's almost like a playlist to where I can go back and be like I can listen to my first video and be like, dude, my saxophone did not sound that good. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it sounded great at the time because I didn't have any point of reference, but like, I can go, you know, I did that video, put it up, and a couple weeks later, I was like, okay, I need to do this to make it sound a little bit better. And I was able to just do that. And then some money started coming in where I'm like, okay, I can start upgrading things now. And then I would start getting endorsements. I got some new equipment, and things would just upgrade over time. But recording myself has literally been the best teacher because I've been able to literally learn
your sound.
My sound to where playing live, I probably would have never heard it because to me, I'm just like playing live. But when I was able to like really hone in on like small things, like I didn't even realize I was doing certain things until I watched videos back that I thought were like amazing at the time, and people loved them. But when I went back and listened to them weeks later, I was like, I didn't even realize that I fucking did that there.
That's actually crazy you say that because my friend Tommy, he's a drummer and he's actually a drummer in my band, but he films himself playing. Like when he's just practicing, he'll film himself playing. And he kind of taught me that, and he was like, dude, just film yourself playing because you usually don't hear it when you're practicing.
You just don't.
And then when you watch it back, you're like, oh shit, like I need to change this up, or I need to double down on this bad habit or some shit like that.
Exactly. So that's like really where it all started for me, was just like, cool, like I can just create videos that I enjoy, and then I can also just get better. And like I was never good at piano or keyboards, but I feel like I've definitely like improved that just because I've really wanted to incorporate it more into my videos because I just like doing it. And through that, I've been able to, and with guitar, same deal, with sax, same deal, like I've improved. And I have a feeling it's really, a lot of it is just from being able to hear myself back from creating these videos. So while like the videos are great, I get a lot of engagement from them. I get a lot of love from other artists, bands. A ton of people have shared my videos that you wouldn't even think of, like people who do, like someone from All My Children, like just like random people that you wouldn't, all kinds of celebrities and people have shared my videos, and that's great. Like I don't really trip over that. It's depending on who it is. Like, you know, when Wiz first started, like I've been a fan of Wiz for a long time. When he first shared my video,
that you can't discredit. That's a pretty big deal.
It's a big deal.
You're like, shit,
when I first
what the fuck?
Yeah, like when I first heard myself,
the wheels are turning now,
dude. Yeah, like when he hit me up for like, you know, the music and shit like that. First of those records back. I mean, those were big moments for me where I'm just like, this isn't a big deal because it's a celebrity. This is a big deal because it's a full circle moment for me, of me going from a fan to me being like almost like, I don't want to say like
a colleague,
a peer, like a colleague, to where I'm like, cool, like he came to me. Dude, there's a billion sax players at the end of the day. This guy could go to anyone at this point if he really wanted to.
Yeah, no, real shit.
He came to me for guitar and sax because he just generally fucks with what I'm doing. He told me that, like,
and
it's a big deal to me.
And to go on the point, he probably would have never known who you were if you had not built that business platform that you have used on like your social medias and stuff.
And all it is the balance between business and, I don't want to say pleasure, but it's like business and just me being creative of work.
Doing what makes you happy.
Yeah, and that, like the videos I'm doing, when I'm creating the videos, that's what's making me happy. And then the business side translates over when I have to go to start posting it. In the beginning, it's like, cool, let me just throw it out there, see what happens. But then it became, okay, I want the most people possible to see this because I feel like I'm putting a lot into it. So there's certain things, whether it's like the hashtags or whether it's like my, you know, stories, like putting certain stories at the right time. Like there's an art to even that. So like when I post and how I post certain stories, tagging certain people and then getting fan pages, like that's also been a major thing that I feel like a lot of people sleep on as well. I don't think I've ever...
And algorithms.
Yeah, algorithms, which are like a pain in the ass because they're always changing. But like one thing that I don't think I've ever talked about that I just figured out on my own is like all these big artists, whether it's like Wiz or whether it's Ariana Grande or whether it's the Backstreet Boys or whoever the fuck, usually there's at least one like main fan page for these people, right? That there's some super fan running it to where they love this fucking artist or this band, or there's some page that supports these kind of people. Those are the pages, and like sometimes those artists will even follow those fan pages. Like those fan pages would reach out. I would do a video, and somehow like these fan pages would reach out to me and be like, "Dude, we love this video. Like, is it cool if we post it?" And I'm like, "Dude, of course." Like, you know what I mean?
It.
Like
that puts you in that circle.
It puts me in that, but
in the network of.
Even so, like even if your focus wasn't on getting, you know, in the circle or the network or whatever. Even if your focus is just, I just want more people to see this video, like that's the next best thing to the actual person is 100%. Getting the fan page to share it, because all their page is people who like that artist.
Yeah.
Think about you like an artist so much that you follow them and the fan page that's just for fans.
You fucking love that artist.
That's the best thing you can do. So it's like I was also not always even focused on just getting the artist to share. I mean, that was, if the artist shares, the artist share. I'm never like, it's never something I'm just
that's never been your end goal.
Please,
like, share this.
I don't really care. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah, no biggie.
It's no biggie, you know, especially at this point. So it's like, I just want as many people to see it as possible, because like I just generally enjoy what I do, and I want people to know who I am, because like I'm just having a fucking ball.
Exactly.
So that's like, don't sleep on those types of things too. So to me, when it comes to social media, like I said, it's just maintaining that balance of like, this is a great time and I'm doing this because I love it, but I'm also at the point now where like I am running a business, and there are certain, like everything that I do is calculated, and people just see it as like, people who don't really have their social medias as a business obviously just see it as like, cool, he's posting the video, this, that, and third. But like there's a whole rhythm and technique that goes into social media that people have no idea about, that I focus on every single day when I wake up and when I go to sleep. I'm always focused on what I'm doing on social media. And like it's a pain in the ass sometimes, but like, dude, I'm not gonna complain at all, because like I would much rather be doing this than anything else. So
100%,
dog, it's the best fucking thing that ever happened to me. Honestly, there's no way I'd be doing what I'm doing without social media.
And that's a huge thing that I feel like a lot of kids don't realize. They look at social media and are just like, yo, I'm just on this to post, you know, like cool pictures and trying to get the most likes and stuff like that. But it's like, it's cool. And some people do that, and they, you know, make it work for them. But realize that you can use this as a business platform to where you can leverage, you know, an audience and, you know, convert that to, you know, say like the success or the place you're trying to get to. It can be that, you know, kind of like vehicle to get you there.
Dude, Instagram is my main, is my biggest platform without everything that I've done.
And that's how it is for my band. And me personally, Instagram is my biggest platform,
dude. Yeah, and it's and like I think I have videos with more views on them on Twitter and on YouTube, which goes to my point that like it's not always about views. To me, it's about like
engagement.
It's about engagement, and it's just about like like
consistency. Actually,
like video, like you can look up on views. Like to me, that's not really that big of a deal. Like anyone can look up on getting like 100,000 views or 50,000 views or even 10,000 views. Like, and that's great. That's not even a downplay, because when I first got my 10,000 views, or like when Haley shared my first video of Ain't It Fun by Paramore, I did 200,000 views in like 12 hours. That was a big deal. I was like, I've never seen this many people watch my shit at all.
Exactly.
That just sparked the whole thing. So that was a big deal. But now I'm not really focused as much on views. To me, it's just about like what's turning the wheels and what's not, because just because something gets a whole lot of views doesn't necessarily mean that it's benefiting you, if that makes sense. Like it is a benefit that people are seeing it, but it doesn't always translate into like opportunity. And I've been way more focused on like, okay, like is what I'm doing going to like help me in some way, or when it translates over to the business side. Obviously when I'm covering songs, like I'm just doing it because I'm like,
this is fun.
This is fucking fun. But once it goes up on social media, I'm like, okay, I got to make sure that like this is gonna do something. You know what I mean? Because like I got one life to live, dog. And like I want this shit to I want this shit to work, and I want to make a point to a lot of people as well that like maybe like did sleep on me at some point, that like, dude, I'm gonna fucking do this. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna do this whole thing, and I'm gonna have a great time, and you're gonna watch the whole thing. It's gonna be a ball.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna have a fucking ball. So yeah, shout out to y'all, man, for real. Shout out to all y'all who slept on the board.
Yeah, for real, bro. But maybe the last thing I want to get into. Do you have any cool stories? Because I saw that you were. And actually, you know what? Rather than just putting it into this one, what are some maybe some standout tour stories that you've had? Because obviously you've played some pretty cool shows. I mean, you told me, I didn't know that you got to go to like, the United Kingdom or like England and shit. Like, I didn't know that.
Dude, yeah.
But do you have any standout stories that, you remember from those times?
One shout out to Neck Deep and their whole team that, had me a part of the UK tour because they didn't really have to at the end of the day. And that's kind of my other thing.
That is a big deal too.
It's a huge deal.
It's not easy to do that.
Dude, it's a huge deal.
People don't realize that, like, oh, they brought on an artist. No, dude, it's a big hard. Deal. It's a big logistical,
it is. And I'm not, the other thing is they all already live there. Like, I live here.
Oh, are they from
They're
England?
from the UK.
Okay.
I'm from here. So it's like, aside from the plane and stuff like that, like, I'm not even from that area. Yeah. Like, do you guys understand?
Yeah, like, for real.
And the other thing is, dude, at the end of the day, like, I've said this before, I am a fan. Like, listen, those, like, Danny is one of my, like, great friends now. Like, all those guys, like, all the guys in the band are, like, my good friends. But, like, I mean, I FaceTime with Danny a couple times a week. Like, that is my fucking dude. Mm-hmm. But I started as a fan, like, and I'm always going to be a fan of the music. When I listen to them, I'm a fan. When I'm playing with them, I'm freaking out my mind. Like, I can't believe this is happening. I have music with them, like, on record that will last way after I'm gone. Like, when I'm dead, that song's still going to be there with my name on it.
Exactly.
That, to me, is the most important thing. The fact that I've been a part of things that are going to last forever, that my kids, their kids can enjoy. Mm-hmm. That's the thing for me. Yeah. So, ultimately, like, when I went to the UK with them, bro, it was fucking nuts because I didn't, like, they had mentioned it to me. We did a show in San Diego and LA. And I remember before I left to go back to, I think, the hotel or wherever I was staying, like, they were like, dude, we're doing that UK tour. It'd be sick if you could come out. We just put out the record that I did with them. We did, like, another version of In Bloom with me on it, and they did an acoustic version. They released it as an EP, mm-hmm. which is another huge deal because it literally just started with me, just like I said, being a fan and recording a video, and Danny being like, "You should do this."
So, like, actually working
to actually be having, like, a record together that'll last. It's just, like, completely mind blowing to me. But
that's super cool, man, and inspiring
as fuck. Bananas, dude. It's nuts.
Fucking inspiring as shit.
Yeah, man. Like, it's crazy. So, like, and that just goes, hand in hand with what I said before too, which is like, dude, it's a billion sax players, which lets me know that there is something that I'm doing that must be, like,
there's something that clicks with you.
There's something that's clicking with what I'm doing that makes people go, nah, like, I don't, like, no shade to them, but, like, I want to work with this guy because there's something that he's doing, which could be any number of things.
Exactly.
That I don't even want to even dive into.
No, yeah.
I'm just cool with the opportunity. That they keep working with me. Mm-hmm. And there's so many other sax players out there and ones who I feel like are probably technically way better than me, but I feel like there's certain pockets that I do that I feel like I'm, like, that's what I fucking do, dude. Yeah. Like, I'm just focused on melodies and what sounds cool, and I just want the feel to be there.
Exactly.
That's just my focus, so maybe that's what it is. But either way, we had just put out the record for In Bloom versions, and it finally came through, like, word, we're going to bring the UK, and I'm, like, stoked, because I'm, like, first of all, I've never been...
How did you... Wait, so was it, like, just, like, you guys were just, like, after the show, hanging out at the hotel and shit, and they just had mentioned, like, yo, man, we're doing this tour, and,
they just mentioned it, like, you should come, you should talk to him. So what I started doing, like, I think...
Yo, how did you feel when they said that?
Oh, I'm hyped.
I would have been like,
come on, how do you think I, like...
That's cool.
Think of what one of your favorite bands, how you'd feel.
Yeah,
if
like,
they were
that's
just...
insane.
That's how I feel. Like, I don't want anyone to get it twisted. I'm feeling the same way you would feel if your favorite band was like, you should come on tour. I'm like, fuck it. Let's do it. Let's go, dude. So, dude, like, I remember what happened was one of the guys had met, I forget who it was, but one of them mentioned to me, like, dude, it would be great if you can come to the UK. So what I started doing was I started going around to everyone in the band, and I was like, yo, such and such mentioned to me that maybe, like, the UK thing would be a thing. And they're like, oh, that's a great idea. And then I'd be like, oh, you should talk to him. And I'd go to the next guy and kind of do the same thing. Because I'm like, I want this to circulate.
Everybody's going to know.
I want everyone to be like, we should bring him to the UK. It'll be great. And I was like, so, but still, I understand the music industry, like, and it's not even just that. It's happened to me a billion times where, like, someone would be like, yo, we should work. We should do this, that, and third. And they may have all the good intentions there, but in the music industry, things just fall through.
Yeah.
And it's no one's fault. It just happens. So anytime I go into something, even with, like...
And you should never take it personally. Because,
I never
usually
do.
most of the time, it's not their personal fault. It's like, dude, it's a business.
It's a business.
It's not easy, bro.
Things happen. And even, like, just to backtrack for a second with the Wiz thing, like, when he... Like, we had been communicating. He, like, invited me onto his Instagram Live a couple times, and, like, we had kind of had conversations... on social media, and, like, I remember he said, like, yo, I'm working on this project, like I'm gonna get you on it. Now to me I'm stoked because I'm a fan, but in my head I'm always like, all right, just keep that mentality of like this very well might not happen. Not because of anything, because of him, because you know he's not a man of his word or anything like that. Not because of that, just because I understand
shit happens,
how the music industry works. This guy might put out a project and just forget about it for whatever reason, or just something else is moving, or his label was telling him this, management was telling him this, and it just comes out and doesn't happen. And it has nothing to do with his intentions. It just sometimes
shit happens.
So
dude.
I always keep that mentality of like, yo, the conversation is great, but until it happens, I'm not really going to get too excited.
But when this happened, like, I'm making this happen.
When I finally got like the okay to post about it on social media, when I finally like saw my plane ticket, I was like, oh, this is a real thing.
Oh, this is actually happening.
And dude, like I've played some big shows. Like I've played a lot of. I've traveled to play some shows, but this was my first official tour to where I was on a. But like I showed up to the first day in a hotel. I got off the plane, met up with the guys at this hotel, and like slept for a little bit because I was fucking just exhausted. Yeah, I was exhausted.
Yeah.
The plane was huge. I'd never been on a plane that big either. It was nuts. But yeah, I get there, we meet up with the guys, and we're at this really nice hotel, and we're just chilling and stuff like that. And like that's when it finally hit me. I'm like, and then we like went to like meet up with the bus, and it was one of those like two-story like tour buses, and I'm just like, oh dude, and like for them it's just like, you know,
it's normal life. This is what they do.
For me, I'm like, dude,
you're like, what the fuck? Where am I?
Everyone else is like, yeah man, this is the bus. I'm like, this is sick, bro.
This is the bus?
We're gonna have a ball. Like, and everyone else is like, yeah, I mean, yeah,
it's
like
gonna be fun.
it'll be cool. Like,
I mean, we do this every day.
I was so sad when that tour ended. I think they were just like business as usual, dude. When that was over, it was only like 2 weeks, and I was like, oh man,
I call it the post tour blues.
Oh, I was so sad.
No, you get the post tour
Luckily though,
blues.
I stayed in the UK for an extra couple weeks with Danny at his house.
That's
he
so
like
cool.
let me stay, and damn, I just lost where it was. Damn.
You
anyway,
were yeah.
It was I stayed.
You were staying in UK.
Yeah, I was in the UK with him. So yeah, I ended up staying there for like another couple weeks after the tour ended, which was great.
So cool,
we
man. That's so cool.
But I remember the one thing that me and him especially were doing during the tour. So this was my first time, like I said, first tour. I never experienced any of this shit. Catering was. Anyone knows me, dude. I love food. I eat all the time. I love snacks. I'm starving right now.
So am I.
I can't wait to go eat. Like I love food, dude. For me being so skinny, I was
about to say, like, how do you, dude? I love food.
It's all
I'm
day.
like, I work hard to keep it down, dude.
I don't do anything.
You got a good metabolism. Be grateful.
Yeah.
Be grateful.
Hey, salute. So like, dude, catering was like, and it was the best food, man. It was like all of it was like. It was great. It was like they had dessert, they had, you know, chicken and all kinds of dishes and pasta.
Fat,
I was eating
so fat.
But the thing we were doing every day was they had a juicer. Like I love juicing, I do it all the time.
They had a juicer.
They had a juicer there and like a smoothie make, all kinds of shit.
Oh my god, bro!
Dude, it was nuts.
Lavish,
dude. Man. It was nuts, and it was like tables like this big, like around,
like filled with food,
stacked with food. I'm like, dude, this is the best part of the tour. Fuck the show.
Fuck the bus, man. Fuck the show.
Like,
yeah, I like the food.
It was the best. So like every day, me and Danny were like, we were just juicing up every day. Like even we weren't even supposed to. Like, you know, there'd be like breakfast, lunch, dinner. We were in there in between, just like getting ginger and just like juicing all day long, juicing. Yeah. And then we didn't get yelled at, but it was like we were juicing things that I didn't know. Like don't even have juice in them because they were just near like there's like a veggie thing. Like we were juicing like avocados and bananas, and then the one lady, yeah, whatever. Ew, but it was great.
Wait, you said bananas though?
Yeah,
bananas are good. Avocado though, I don't know about that.
But some of these things don't actually have juice in them. Like they shouldn't be juiced because nothing comes out anyway. But we didn't know because we were just throwing shit in there. So the one lady comes up and she's like, "Hey, who the hell keeps juicing like the avocados and shit?" And she's like, you guys understand that there's no juice in them. And me and Danny looked at each other. I'm like, yeah, you guys are idiots, man.
Yeah,
like,
what are you talking about?
What are you talking about? No one's like,
I've drank like 3 of them with it in there. What are you talking about?
Dude, we were juicing nonstop, and it was the best.
Funny,
it was the best thing. But when we got to play, like we played, the last date was at Wembley Arena, and that was just like, dude, like. I knew it was.
I'll throw up a picture because I think I saw that on your Instagram. I'll throw up a picture of that so people can see
that. Thank you. Yeah, we like. I knew that was a big deal going into it, but I didn't realize how big of a deal it was until the day of the show because everyone was like during the tour, you know, we played. It was an arena tour. So every show was an arena.
That's fucking crazy.
Every show from start to finish, you know, it was nuts. Yeah. So I knew it was a big deal, but when we got there that day, I could just tell by everyone's demeanor it was a little bit like.
Are you saying like in the band? Like
I'm saying in the band, like I'm saying everyone was. It was a little bit more like. Okay, like this is
we're fucking doing this.
Yeah, like this is a big deal. And I was like, damn, yo, it hit me all at once. I was like, this is my very first tour ever. I'm on a fucking nice ass bus with my favorite band. Also, the other 2 bands we were touring with was Issues and Don Broco. I fucking love Issues. And I was like, so I'm on tour with like 3 awesome bands. I'm a fan of all of them. I'm eating good every day. I'm in a country I've never been to. They're showing me around. It's the best. We're playing Wembley. Like, we're playing one of the most legendary arenas of all time.
Bro. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone knows it, or has at least heard of that.
And I'm a fucking sax player playing with this UK rock band. Like, what the hell is going on? Like,
what is happening?
On paper, if you were to write that down, you'd think like someone was just like bullshitting. But I'm like, this is real life.
What
I'm
is
here.
happening?
Yeah, like, I'm here, and I'm meeting people every day,
hey, dude.
bro.
And before you go on,
it's cool.
Keep in mind that will happen to certain people watching this too.
Yeah.
It's happened to me.
Yeah.
I've learned. Take those moments and
Take it in.
enjoy it.
Take it in, bro.
Because guess what?
When it's done, it's done.
Yeah, when it's done, it's done.
Yeah. Like,
enjoy the moment.
I definitely
do not
did.
take advantage of it.
And there's people like from that tour, like fans and supporters and stuff, like, because every day too, like even to go on what you're saying, I made it a point. I'm like, Neck Deep's established, you know what I mean? And people know them. So it's like when they got done playing, everyone just wants to chill. Some people got girlfriends. They just want to hang out. Yeah. That's cool. To me, I was like, I don't know when I'm going to come back here. And this is my first opportunity. So every day after our set, I made it a point. I was meeting people at merch. I was talking to people. I was walking around the crowd.
Cool, bro.
Like, I only got one chance. And I was wearing this fucking Saxl Rose thing. Like, I was like, I want everyone to know I'm here. And I want to talk to as many people as possible. So I just made it a point. Like, I would even post on social media.
So cool, man.
Yo, meet me by the fucking merch table after the show. I want to talk to everyone. So I was like, I'm trying to make this count. So, I would spend an hour or so or however many just like walking around and taking pictures and talking to people. And that going to the UK was the first time. Like, I played some shows and had people ask for pictures and stuff like that. But when I played the UK, it was every night of people being like, and it really hit me to where I'm like, these people online only know me from online. They've never met me in person before. Now, when I play Baltimore or play around here, people know me, so it's different.
Yeah.
These people have only seen me with their favorite band and their other favorite bands online. So the fact that I'm here right now is a huge deal to them because they never thought they would see me. I don't even live here. Mm-hmm. So these people were treating me so fucking well. Like I'm freaking out about it right now. But they were they were treating me so well and so nice. Yeah. And some of them, like many of them, still follow me and send me messages now.
That's super awesome.
And what I did was when I did a cover video of Neck Deep's one of the singles off the last album called When You Know, and they released it during the pandemic, so they weren't really able to obviously like tour or anything like that. Yeah. So during the video, what they did was they had people hold up signs and stuff like that with the lyrics to the song, and that's how they included all their fans in it. So my mom gave me the idea of when I did the cover video, she was like, you should cover their song and you should get people to hold up signs as well. I specifically went back and messaged all the people that took pictures with me and reposted them from that UK tour, and I was like, hey, I'm doing this cover video, I'd love to have you in it. Can you please like write a sign that says something?
Dude, you don't understand either, like how that probably made those people feel.
Dude, yeah.
They were probably so excited.
I had them, I was like, I'm having like everyone write Saxl Rose is my homie, because that's like my thing. I've merged with that.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
And I was like, but could you also please write down the date and like place that you saw me at, because like I want people to know, and I want to see as well. And I had so many of them do that, and I just remember thinking that's like, so cool. And they were so hype, and I was like, when I was there, they were just treating me so well, dude. And that's when it hit me. I was like, oh, like I'm not like, this is a big deal. I'm not just some dude from Havity Grace anymore to these people. I'm part of the band as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, totally.
So and Neck Deep always made me feel like I'm part of the band. Like we did,
cool,
the Lil Wayne Blink tour. Like I didn't do the whole thing, but I did some dates on there, and like that was nuts. And I've played pretty much since I've met them. Every tour that they've done, I've had some sort of hand in where I've played like every single one. So shout out to them. Shout out to all the bands who have let me play with them. The Used, State Champs, Intervals, Paramore.
You play with the Used?
Oh yeah, that's where I got this hoodie. Yeah, I did a show with them.
That's actually wild. Like, in the beginning of this episode, when I mentioned that, that's actually fucking wild.
Dude, same deal. I did a cover, and they just hit me up on social media.
Yeah, that's like one of my bands where I'm like,
dude, yo, you know what the funny thing is about the Used is that so my friend John, I really did that. My one of my best friends, Johnny, he's a huge fan. Mm-hmm. I like the Used.
I'm a huge fan of the Used.
Oh, yeah, I like the Used, and I like the hit songs, but he was like really into them, and like he was coming with me and like filming videos at the time, like doing a lot of my content at shows. Like he would come film, and we'd chop it up and post it and stuff. So I really I knew they were coming around, so I was like, man, like maybe if I do this, like I can make it happen, and me and him can go, and it'll be great. And it's pretty much exactly what happened.
Crazy,
I threw the video up, and they hit me up and were like, "Dude, we'd love to have you out." And don't get me wrong, I was stoked because like it's the Used, dude.
Yeah, the Used was, and at the time, I mean, they had their moment too. But dude, they're a pretty big, established band.
The show was fucking sick.
Yeah.
When we were on stage doing sound check, I didn't understand that those guys are actually like they're not like some of these rock bands, and just not even rock. Some of these bands that you meet, they're really good at what they play, and that's it. no shade to them, but like they're really good at what they do. But dude, we were on stage like legitimately jamming. Like these guys are actual real musicians. They can fucking play.
Dude,
they're no joke. So we're up there playing. The bass player is doing his thing. I'm like, I'm like, dude, this is. Man. I'm like, you guys are actually like really sick. And they're like, dude, we could do this all day. I'm like,
that's
dude,
lit, bro. That's awesome,
dude.
Bro.
It was a great show, and that like, and actually the crazy thing is, right before I went on stage, literally. To like maybe a song before, my mouthpiece, the ligature that goes over it that holds the reed in place, snapped, and I was like, I don't think I have
That's
another
the thing
one.
that holds your reed, correct?
Yeah, so if I didn't have that, I would have been able to play because there's no other way to hold that on there.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I
pretty
would have been just done.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, luckily I did have another one thanks to Silas. I had no shit in my bag.
Shout out Silas.
I was I ran back upstage. I'm like looking at my bag, and like as soon as I come down, I'm like, I gotta go on stage right now. Like, but dude,
that's wild, bro.
Shout out to them. Shout out to Miss May I, all the bands I've played with, Stan Atlantic. I've played with a shit ton of bands. I don't want to miss anyone, but like they've all been super, super cool. All of them have been like the nicest people ever. They've all been really, really like generous and just like, I feel like they, as much as I like enjoy playing with them, like they want me to play with them. And that's the thing like that. Like I did a live thing with this band Stan Atlantic, which is one of my favorite bands. They did a live show for their fans and they like hit me up to record some sax for the live show like recently. That I sent them, I shot in front of a green screen, and they put me like during the show. They had like an LED screen, and they put me on the screen.
Oh, I saw that video.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's stuff like that where they don't like. None of these bands have to do that because they just don't like. They don't have.
They really don't.
They don't. They're their own band. They can do whatever they want. They don't have to include me. But it's been like a thing almost. I feel like to include me in this circle, and like I'm so like
that's so badass.
I'm so like happy to be a part of it. And then obviously the other side, like the hip hop R&B side, those guys have been great as well. So like
that's so cool.
Shout out everyone in Taylor Gang. Shout out Chris, shout out Bobby V, all the people, artists, JoJo, anyone who shared my shit, MGK, fucking, I could name them all, but just everyone.
Shout out to all of them.
Shout out to all of them, man. It's been a great fucking
that's so cool,
ride.
Man.
So yeah.
Well, dude, that pretty much goes over everything I had written down in the notes.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some things that maybe we can get into next time, but
of course, yeah.
I feel like we got into a lot, and
we definitely did.
For everyone that wants to stay in contact with Tony and/or Saxl.
Young Saxl.
Young Saxl. Go ahead and tell them what your Instagram is again and stuff like that.
Holla at your boy at Saxl Rose Official. I'm Saxl_Rose on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook as well. I got a Facebook page on there, Tony Hancock Music /Saxl Rose. You can look for me on there. I got merch, teespring.com/Saxl Rose and teespring.com/Saxl Rose Official for the beanies. Yeah, man, I got a single dropping this year too, like some original music that I want to get out, that I recorded, mixed, mastered, already done. I'm just shooting a video for it. Got a sick guest feature on there as well, someone I've played with before. And we got music out as well. So, yeah, man, it's going to be another good year. Lockdown or no lockdown. I'm making moves out here. I'm not playing with y'all. So it's going to...
Let them know.
I'm not playing. 2020, I wasn't playing. I'm definitely not playing this year. So y'all can catch me out here just being consistent with the videos and the content and just doing shit that I think is cool. If you want to support me, cool. If you don't, that's fine too. So...
Cool, man. Well, thank you for coming on, bro.
Hey, man, I appreciate you having me on,
That was fun, bro.
man.
That was
Definitely.
fun, bro.
This is sick. You're doing a great job.
Thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
Hey, guys, I will see you in the next episode. Thank you for hanging out with us. Peace.
Okay.